To win in World RX, you're going to need to take the hits and bounce back. Welcome to the 2018 FIA World Rallycross Championship presented by Monster Energy. After a hard-hitting round one, we have arrived at Montalegre in Portugal. Located near the Spanish border in the northern Villarreal region, the Montalegre track's beautiful setting at 1,055 metres above sea level offers one of the most brutal challenges in the season to both drivers and cars. Nobody quite knew what to expect going into round one in Barcelona, but everybody knew the fight for the championship started there. With two new teams, GRX Tanaco and GC Competition taking to the grid, and with a ton of winter development in action for the first time, everybody had something to prove. Current world champion Johan Kristoffersson knew he had to assert his authority, and he quickly found out he was a marked man. It may be a brand new season, but old rivalries came to the fore as Petter Solberg and Matthias Ekström lined up for the final. In the charge to the first corner, Ekström and Solberg wanted the same piece of track, and physics dictated that only one would fit. Solberg lost that scrap. Ekström took the lead. Behind them, Sebastian Loeb managed to hang on after a collision with Kristoffersson, who slotted into second place, followed by EKS's new recruit, Andreas Bakkerud. Loeb jokered early, found clear air and started to hunt down Bakkerud for the undercut. Lap 5 and the Frenchman's efforts paid off. As the EKS Audi exited the Joker, Loeb slipped through for the final podium spot. A great comeback for the Frenchman, who had been dogged with problems all weekend. With the Jokers played out, Kristoffersson was laying the pressure on hard to the leading Ekström. Ekström defended with all the skills expected of a former champion and took the flag in top spot. But with the ticker tape still fluttering in the air, he knew he faced another battle as the stewards began to look again at that first corner incident with Solberg. The officials made their decision. Ekström was eliminated from the final.
For 2 hours I felt great, and the aftermath I think is we have to accept the decision, and even if we might not even like the decision, but we have never decided to appeal or protest stewards' decisions.
It's nothing to talk about. He's finished. You know, it's very easy to see what happened, and for me it's very obvious. But Ekström is a DTM driver. He's very clever with how he's driving, so he knows what he's doing. You know, and it didn't work out this time.
Barcelona is the latest incident in a long-running feud between the two former champions. Both South Africa last season and the title-deciding moment in Latvia 2016 have seen these two clash before. The tension shows no sign of easing between the camps.
I don't take it so personal when I'm in the race car. I mean, I must admit, I think Petter has become a bit of a whiner.
I was calm all the time, you know, I didn't say anything or do anything, so for me it was quite easy. Let the judges do the judgment, and that's it. I bought him some glasses. I'm gonna give to him now later today, so I think he should be happy.
Following the stewards' decision, the race win was awarded to Kristoffersson, who sits on top of the table after round one and now has 10 race wins to his name in World RX, equaling Solberg and Ekström. In the team championship, the PSRX Volkswagen Sweden squad take top spot, but it's early days with 11 rounds left to go. The drama of Ekström versus Solberg may have taken the headlines, but we also learnt a lot about the rest of the pack in Barcelona. The ProDrive developed Renault Megane's impressed with both GC competition cars reaching the semis. But perhaps the biggest achievement of round one was Niklas Gronholm in the GRX Tanaco Hyundai i20, reaching the final. It was a great drive by the young Finn in a brand new car to World RX that looks to be delivering from the off.
Yeah, really good. It's a big bonus for us to make the final, and yeah, gives a positive feeling for the rest of the season. Yeah, we still have a lot of work to be done. Yeah, it's a WRC car, so it's not made for Rallycross. There's been some changes, but yeah, we're still working on a few things. But yeah, the car is working fine, but it's fine tuning. We have to try to keep up the momentum and try to be in the semi-finals at least in every race. It's not always easy, but yeah, we have to work hard to stay in the top.
Loeb may have made the podium in Barcelona, but it was Timmy Hansen who was looking good for a great result before technical failure robbed him of an impressive semi-final win and a front row spot for the final.
Barcelona was a fantastic weekend. So many positive things, like I was second in Q2, second in Q3. I won Q4, I beat Petter there, but unfortunately we didn't get all the way to the end. But I see more positives in that weekend than negatives. So I'm hoping that we can start here where we left off over there. I would like to step on the top step of the podium again. It's been a while and I love this circuit. It's a circuit that's been a challenge for me, but I learned to love it. Like the rhythm you have through the gravel is amazing. To win on a track like this will be really special.
As the drivers prepare to get round 2 underway, let's take a look at the challenge they face on a track that they all love to drive. Montalegre in Portugal, 1,050 metres above sea level. This one is a real roller coaster, 60% asphalt and 40% dirt, and it's real dirt. We ride on board with Solberg down towards turn 1. It is a very big stop, regardless of whether you come from the start or the normal lap. He takes the standard lap. The Joker comes around the outside and merges on the left here. Now into the really committed part, round to the right and the left. Look at this. It drops away. Solberg uses the handbrake to tip the car in through the dip and up over the huge Montalegre curbs onto this dirt section, which does clean up and can make a difference to lap time. Round the right-hander, this one tightens, and it's important to get the car lined up close on the inside. Solberg does it perfectly. Pop it up over the curb on the left, close to the barrier on the right. Big commitment through the final chicane, and that is a lap of Montalegre. While the weather was better than predicted on day 1 in Portugal, it was fair to say that the track conditions in Q1 were developing through the session. The PSRX Volkswagen suffered the most, being drawn in the early races, with Christophersen the best of the pair in 3rd, behind Ekstrom's Audi, and Loeb in a Peugeot that looked to be very well balanced indeed. For Q2 though, the track theory was blown out of the water. The Peugeots and the VWs lined up together. First, Hansen beat Solberg with a series of flawless laps, looking incredibly comfortable in the rapid 208. Next, it was Loeb's turn. Aided somewhat by Ekstrom and Christophersen getting physical into the turn 1 Joker, the French rally legend put in a big push. It was super close. Loeb just over 300ths shy of Hansen's time, but with a 1-2 in Q2 and overnight, it was certainly Peugeot's day.
It feels good to have a car working well here. The pace was quite good in Barcelona also. Now it's a very different track, and we are also in the fight. It's very tight between the drivers, but at the moment I'm first, and that's really good.
Q2 race, the whole race was really good for me. Like every single corner of the 4 laps were really good. It's one of my best races for a long time. And there's no secret, the car feels good. Engineers and mechanics have done a very good job to keep it in top condition.
We're used to certain teams dominating, and this looks like it's the end of that domination.
No, it's the start of a new.
So it's a winner piece then at the top of the table for Sebastian Loeb and Timmy Hansen. The Peugeots heading the Audis and the Volkswagens here in Portugal. Kevin Eriksson, Kevin Hansen, Yannis Baumanis and Timur Timosyanov are currently just inside the cutoff. There is work to do for everybody else.
So here at OMSE, Kevin Eriksson, Q1 and 2 was much better than your first day in Barcelona. Your P9 overall, how do you feel about it?
It feels good. Of course, I would like to be a little bit better. The pace has felt good, to be honest. I had some issues in Q2 with when my power steering locked. So I was a little bit too afraid to go hard on the curbs because, you know, if the steering locks in a wrong place, you can end up bad. But yeah, the pace feels good and I like the car, so it looks promising.
Now, although it looks very similar to what we've seen before, this is an entirely new car. Is it taking a little bit of time to get used to?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have some brand new technology that we have, tested out, and inboard suspension. We have the cooling up front now, which is new for all of us. But it feels very good. I like the car. I like the performance, and I think we can be up there and fight.
Okay, hopefully see you in the semis and the final maybe. Let's go across here and have a word with new teammate Robin Larsson. Robin, you're just on the bubble now, I think 13th overall after Q2, but you're embedded in a brand new team. How are you feeling? How are you getting to grips with it?
Yeah, I'm learning every time I hit the track, so it's hard to tell how the car is gonna be. So that's the hardest part. So we sorted out some problems in Q1 and Q2, so hopefully we can sort that out and get some more speed, because I do everything I can on the track, and every time I hit the curves, the car just throws me out of the line. So I'm really struggling to find that speed, but now we found something on the car, so that's really good. So hopefully I can find some more speed.
And historically, we've always seen you come to the circuits. You're in charge of your own team. You've been an independent entry. Is it nice to be able to just turn up and drive as a member of a team where you don't have to worry about everything else?
Yeah, it's pretty nice to come here and the tent is up and everything. You don't have to drive the bus, but it's also fun to have their own team and be a group. And I think we're working on to be a good group, and it feels pretty good. And I'm working on everything and new engineers and everything. So it's a lot of new to learn, so it feels good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Robin. If we just quickly dive down the side, see if we can grab a quick word with Andreas. It looks like they're looking at some data to see if they can improve the performance. A quick word with the boss. Sorry to interrupt. You're looking at some very interesting data there on the computers. What can you adapt to improve performance for Q3 and 4?
No, we're looking on everything now and see if we can do something better. The altitude is very, very difficult, so we're trying to get the most of the engine, and so far we think we can get something more out of it. That's what we look for.
Okay, we'll leave you to it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Andrew Coley. I will be your commentator today. Joining me in the commentary box is Guy Wilkes, a World RX regular competitor and, of course, twice a British rally champion. Neil Cole reporting from the paddock and the spotters tower. Here is how we stand ahead of Q3. Sebastian Loeb at the top of the table from his teammate Timmy Hansen. Ekstrom, Kristoffersen, Bakkerud, Solberg, Gronholm and Schischerit are your top 8. Kevin Eriksson, Kevin Hansen, Baumanis and Timur Zyanov currently inside the top 12. Larsson and Grosset-Janin with work to do. On to the early races of Q3. This one was 2 Portuguese and Oliver Bennett. In the background you can see a half spin, and that was for Joaquim Santos. Mario Barbosa was leading from Bennett at this point. Mistake as well for Barbosa. Grip levels were low, all 3 of these setting the times, which were pretty sure to be beaten because the track was drying. Race 2, de Moustier on the outside, but both the GCK RX cars featuring this one. You can see Timur Zyanov going on the brakes, then getting back on the gas, deciding to take the joker lap behind Grosset-Janin, while Schischerit was on the standard lap with Larsson. Larsson here making a pass on Timur Zyanov. The Russian, though, managed to get himself back up the inside on the exit. Here you go, a little bit of door-to-door contact, nicely done. Grosset-Janin leading that particular pack. This was the joker lap merge, and you can see Schischerit comes out in front of his teammate Jeroen Grosset-Janin. He would hold on to the flag, but later receive a 5-second penalty. Race 3, Q3 on the line and ready to go. Here's the lineup from the inside. The world champion Kristoffersen is up next to the Armco. He's got Niklas Gronholm next to him. Then it's Kevin Hansen. The Peugeots were rapid yesterday. Kevin Eriksson and Yannis Baumanis. And interestingly, they are all on wet weather tyres still. So I think that's probably for the gravel. We'll ask Guy Wilkes about it in a second. Start marshal, as you can see, has the poncho on. I suspect that's more for the wind than the rain. We have had some rain this morning. And you can see the track is still a little bit damp. We've seen a lot of wheel spin off the line for everybody during free practice and the earlier races today. Ready to race, light goes out, looking for the green. Here we go. Gronholm looks to have lost a bit of ground off the start line. Kevin Hansen and Johan Kristoffersen down towards turn 1. Kevin puts the squeeze on Johan. Kevin then goes deep on the brakes. He's gone late. Bails from that. He knows Kristoffersen's got him down into turn 1. And in fact, it is both of the Kevins who head down there. Kevin Hansen, great awareness there.
Absolutely. Probably got a call from the spotter, but still, when you're in the car, to have that alertness, because you can just get on the brakes a quarter of a second, half a second too early. That's time lost. You need to have a definitive and decisive call or decision to know, right, okay, I can't get across the inside here. Johan did a great job of covering it off, even though he didn't get the best start. It wasn't an option for him. He'd have had to go around the outside and would have risked Johan getting into him.
Just Claire, and that's Claire, it's experience too, and Kevin's so experienced. You know, the stuff he's done in British Rallycross, then he went on, of course, all the junior Rallycross formulas that he's been in World Championship, European Championship, and that's that switched on Rallycross head. I'm not going to get this. Why risk it? I'll take the Joker.
Is the puppy of the Peugeot team as regards age, but experience.
Isn't he? I know.
His dad, his brother, the whole family has been around Rallycross and brought up with Rallycross.
Gronholm through the big dip, and you don't see it quite so much on the television, but it is a significant dip and then a rise up over the top. Guy, learning this circuit last year, I was talking about it yesterday. This place you found challenging, didn't you?
Yeah, it's very difficult, both the car setup when you're not used to it and as a driver, because the car does obviously get thrown around and bounce around on the curbs. You have to use the curbs as well in different conditions. In the dry, you want to use them. Sometimes in the wet, you stay off them. But yeah, here, obviously on the tarmac, you need to be really neat and smooth and cover your line. Make sure nobody does a silly lunge down the inside if you brake too early. So you need to be on the money, but nice and smooth through this section.
Gronholm dropping a wheel off at the end of the lap there. You can see they use all the track and just a little bit more at times. We ride on board with him again, up towards the crest. Here we go, curve on the left, then the curve on the right. And then watch for the long right-hander here. So you need to get the car rotated nice and early, and he'll try and hook the wheels up on the curve, as Kristoffersson does in front of him. What's the gap at the minute back to Kevin Hansen? It's 3.9 from the leader. What do you think, Guy, at the minute in terms of Joker lap difference in these conditions?
I think it's too much for Kevin to actually pass Johan, but you never know. Johan's got a clear track and he's got Joker now, so we'll see right now.
So Johan goes in, and in fact Gronholm and Baumanis as well, of course, because it's the last lap. Kevin Hansen, I think, is going to slot into P2. He'll run the car wide. He does. He covers the line off. And although behind him on the slingshot, Gronholm is a little bit quicker, he can't find a way through. Ericsson is into fourth, and Baumanis back in fifth. So good run here from Johan Kristoffersson. The VWs yesterday suffered from a not great draw in Q1. They were both in the early races, but Kristoffersson, despite there being a lot of gravel on the track, still did a good job with the time. He runs a bit deep, and it's all about clock here. 2:54.7 at the bottom of your screen. Kristoffersson is going to destroy that, I'm pretty sure of that. Over the line, waiting for it to stop. Whoa, right out to the outside. All 3, 4, 5 of the drivers using the dirt on the outside. 5.6 seconds faster, and that is a 2:49.1. So Kristoffersson with a 2:49.1. We're still around 10 seconds off the pace of yesterday. So Kevin Hansen second, Niklas Gronholm third, then Kevin Ericsson and Yannis Baumanis. And they slot all of them into the top of the table. So a little bit quicker on the track conditions. Good job by all of them. So Guy, off the start, talk us through Kevin's move here.
Kevin has 3/4 of a car, but he needs a full car to get right across Johan to cover it off, and obviously decided that he didn't have enough. He didn't want to risk it and obviously get tangled up. Remember, obviously they're still racing the clock. They don't want to hinder each other. So yeah, very clean driving, very sensible driving. Obviously here on board with Niklas Gronholm, through into the funnel, and nice neat job.
Kristoffersson is the current leader of Q3. We've got one race left to go.
So, Tommy, yesterday wasn't the perfect day for Johan, but that was the best possible start to Sunday.
Yeah, it's all time great to come out strong on Sunday morning, and it means a lot for us. And like you say, it wasn't the best day, but this was very, very important for us. And we will see now for the last heat if they can be faster than us, or otherwise it will be just a great start on the Sunday.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at one of our team profile graphics. This is Team Peugeot Total. Of course, they had a team name change over the winter. Timmy Hansen and Sebastian Loeb. Hansen, age 25, Loeb a little bit older, but a 9-time World Rally Champion. 33 times in the final for Hansen, 15 for Loeb, 22 podiums for Hansen, 10 for Loeb. Remember, Hansen's been doing this a little bit longer than Loeb has. 5 event wins to 1 for Sebastian. Timmy Hansen, of course, is actually a member of the 50 Club as well. 96% of the time qualifies to the semi-finals for 88 for Sebastian. 66 to the final and 58 for Loeb. So Hansen, with those 50 events, that extra experience paying off. You can see he's just slightly ahead of his very illustrious teammate. Final race of Q3 lining up. I have to say the weather looks to me like it's getting slightly worse right now. It's maybe not raining, but it's certainly coming in the background. Look behind the grid and you can see the way the clouds are closing in on these guys. Wouldn't be ideal for them. Of course, these are the fastest people from day one. If they get the rain now, they could find themselves dumped back to the back of the grid. Wipers are on the inside for Timmy Hansen. Sebastian Loeb next to him, Matthias Ekström, Petter Solberg, Andreas Bakkerud. What a lineup. The two works drivers for Peugeot, the two factory-supported drivers for Audi, and Petter Solberg, of course, the double world champion with the support of VW behind him. So this is a brilliant lineup. They're all on wet tyres. They have got their wipers on. So the weather has changed just ahead of the final race in Q3. The pace setter at the minute is Kristoffersen with a 2:49.1. Keep your eyes peeled on the clock at the end of the race, but until then, it's all in on the way down to turn one. Anti-lag on. Oh, it's a pretty even start again, but Solberg looks to have got the best of it. Solberg's going to try and move across to the inside. He covers off Hansen on the inside, so who's going to go Joker now? Bakkerud goes deep. Ekström's gone early on the brakes, but it wasn't enough. Loeb's gone in the Joker. Bakkerud's gone too deep. Bakkerud's losing time. He's going to try and go on the throttle. Loeb looks up the inside, but he can't get through, so Bakkerud leads the three that are Joker, and Solberg is leading on the standard lap.
The Joker, they ran way too wide, but he just kept at it and got the car back online. Petter Solberg nailed that start. He absolutely destroyed everyone. Obviously, the right RPM setting is a lot of testing goes into that to get that right, and obviously a lot of knowledge from the team to judge the conditions. It's so cold here, Andrew. It's only 3.7 degrees. It must be the coldest RX event there's ever been.
On board with Solberg now, and yeah, absolutely bang on the RPM guy. Absolutely bang on it. He's pulling the gears down the straight. He has got Hansen right up behind him, and Hansen yesterday was mega, wasn't he?
He was electric, actually. We talked about, you know, driving styles a little bit yesterday, and Timmy did talk about this track and how hard it was for him to learn, but he's definitely mastered it now, and the Peugeot looks good, doesn't it?
On board with Solberg. Look at the effort that goes in. You said to me as well about how physical this track is on you as a part of the car.
Yeah, definitely. Last year, you know, when you climb the curbs, especially in the dry, when the grip's obviously higher, the lateral grip, you get your helmet banged off both sides of the seats. Obviously, these chassis are the best in the world, you know, in this championship. And the dampers they have in these cars are definitely better than the ones that I had, but at the same time, it's so physical.
So fastest lap of the day, Andreas Bakkerud. He's trying very, very hard to make up for that lost time in the Joker. And is he going to be close enough? Because look, he's only 2.1 back off Solberg. So at the minute, guy, this is looking on.
Bakkerud is electric. He's on fire. We haven't been following him, but we are now.
What about the lap times with Kristoffersen? So Kristoffersen was on a 40.4, and they are putting in similar lap times now, so track conditions don't look to have changed too much. We are finding that, so our predictor is saying that Bakkerud is going to get this, and to me, Hansen looks like he might have the measure of Solberg here in terms of pace, but he can't get through, Guy.
Joker strategy, isn't it? And obviously now it's a little bit late, but Andreas Bakkerud, and consider the time he lost in the Joker as well.
He'd have been a long way ahead.
Half a second, I would say.
Here we go, Solberg and Hansen down into the Joker lap. Look to the inside, you can see Andreas Bakkerud is rounding through there now. Hansen looks got so much traction, he's looking at the inside of Solberg. They're both outpaced Loeb, so they were going well, but Bakkerud, what a drive.
It's a long time since we've seen a Peugeot climbing all over the back of a VW, isn't it?
It is indeed, and yesterday I think it was a big shock. No VWs in the press conference at the end of day one. It was a Peugeot 1-2 with Audi there in third position. Bakkerud yesterday didn't look to me like he'd got the car underneath him that he wanted. Remember, this team is built around Matthias Ekström, but the Norwegian today is doing a great job. Can he take Q3 for the Audi team around through the right-hander and over the line? His target time is at the bottom, and he's done it. 2:47.8. Fantastic job. He's 1.2 seconds faster than Johan Kristoffersen went, and it is Bakkerud who takes Q3. There's that fantastic time. It's a Norwegian 1-2, a German 1-2, but an Audi from a VW. The Peugeot, though, to me, looked really fast, particularly of Timmy Hansen. Sebastian Loeb maybe had a little more clear air, but couldn't live with Bakkerud. An Ekström at the back of those five was P3 last night. There's where they slot in. So the VWs are still right up there, but so are the Peugeots and the Audis. This season is going to be super close.
Yeah, as you can see at the start line there, Petter just got it down, got traction and went. Everybody else, it's a great shot, that, isn't it? Obviously, people going different strategy down.
It looks so slow there, Guy, as well to us. But I mean, you know, it's tight, isn't it? This corner.
It all happened so quick as well. You know, when you have a car, when you're going standard lap and a car passes you on the Joker, you know, it's a bit of a shock.
The speed differential between the two lines very big. Look at Hansen here, and this is what I mean about, he looked like he had grip to spare. Couldn't find a way past Solberg, though. Would he have been able to match Bakkerud? We'll have to wait to Q4 to find out.
Well, Emil, we were worried that the conditions had got worse for that last race of Q3, but Bakkerud's time was incredible.
Yeah, he's an excellent driver, and he really showed his pure speed and talent today. I mean, that lap time of 40.0 something was brilliant.
So it bodes well for the rest of the day.
Yeah, everything feels great. I mean, now we just keep on going for Q4 and then have a good spot in the semi-final.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, the umbrellas are up at the end of Q3, but Andreas Bakkerud got the job done despite the fact that the drizzle had started to fall, and this is how they stand at the end of Q3. So Sebastian Loeb is still top qualifier at the moment with that win in Q1 and a second in Q2, but Bakkerud is equal look with Hanson, but by virtue of him winning Q3, he is the man who takes the second place. So super close between them. Hanson third, Kristoffersen, Ekström, Solberg, Niklas Gronholm, very good in the Hyundai in seventh, Kevin Hansen the third of the Peugeots up in P8. Kevin Eriksson is in Shishirit. Baumanis and Timos Yarnov currently inside the top 12. Larsen, Grosse Janin with some work to do, and there's a little bit of a points gap there between 13th and 12th. Analysis package for you from Montalegre in Portugal. We're going to start with some wonderful slow motion shots. Solberg here in his typical sideways style, and Guy, there's a number of driving styles at work here. You know, you competed here yourself last year.
I did indeed, Andrew, and this track, actually, on the gravel, you have to get much more sideways than normal for a number of reasons. A, the curves are so big and they want to push the car out into the middle of the circuit. As you can see here with the Peugeot, Timmy and Petter have distinctly different driving styles normally, but here it's taken Timmy Hansen, he's admitted, a lot of years to master this track, and it looks very simple on paper when you look at a plan view. But this section here, as you can see, obviously big high curves at the cars. You try and fight up them to get the grip from the front end of the car to hold it into the corner just like that. As you can see, the rear left wheel, Petter's trying to get all four wheels, even though it's a gravel section, it's worn down to the tarmac. He's trying to get all four wheels to bite and get better traction so he can fire himself out of that corner much quicker.
And you can see it cleans at the inside of the curb as well, so it's important, isn't it, to make sure you get the car in there. But look at the action from the curb as well.
And that chassis there is one of the best in the paddock, if not the best in the paddock, and see the reaction there off the curb. Now back on board with Timmy Hansen.
Yeah, now this was his absolutely fantastic run in Q2. On a mission in the Peugeot, and what was interesting talking to Loeb yesterday is they're now saying that Peugeot last year he said it either understeered or it oversteered, and it's clear from this that they've got a very good car underneath.
Neutral. And as you see, Timmy Hansen very smooth on the tarmac, that's what he's noted for. Now here, watch this corner, it's very long and late apex, watch how sideways he gets it on the handbrake, still turning in with a bit of understeer, but that car is at a massive oversteer attitude. And through here, this is a funnel section, very tricky to get right, as you can see there, very quick left-right section, Armco barriers. If you get that wrong, you're definitely clipping it and costing yourself massive time down the straight.
On board with Solberg now, and you'll see Solberg coming around the standard lap, and this is Hansen, who we were on board with, who was on a flyer. And Guy, at that point, you know the other guy's got the better tactic than you, he's done the better laps than you.
Yeah, too late, obviously, a bit of a slingshot, just like Barcelona, the previous round out of the Joker, and as you can see from this onboard footage from Petter, the big reaction from the curbs. You know, it's a really exciting track, massively, massively enjoyable when you get it right, but it is so difficult to get right. Again, watch on board through this section how it funnels down through the Armco barriers. We saw Timmy get very sideways. Petter actually not as sideways as Timmy got through there. Quite unusual.
Here's the onboard with Timmy through that section of track, which he's always said he used to find tricky, but I think you can see from how relaxed he looks, he's absolutely on top of this car here in Montalegre. Great job by Timmy Hansen and the Peugeot squad getting the job done. Will they continue to do so through the rest of the weekend? Just one qualifying session remaining, then Q4 still to come. Sebastian Loeb still TQ at the minute from Bakkerud, Hansen, Kristoffersen, Ekström, Solberg, Gronholm and Kevin Hansen. Kevin Eriksson, Shishirit, Baumanis up to 11. Timos Yarnov and Robin Larsen fairly close on points for 12th and 13th. Despite the sunshine at the start of Q4, it had actually just snowed prior to this session. Oliver Bennett the first to find out. It was a bit slippery down in turn one. The Moustier managed to slip up the inside and pass him on the exit, and he would hold that position all the way through to the checkered flag. A nice drive by the Frenchman. Second race of Q4 on the line. Shishirit, the last of them to pull up to the jump start sensors. Let's take a look at the full lineup as you look at Robin Larsen, who's in the middle of the grid. Jerome Grosjean up against the Armco on the inside with Timos Yarnov next to him. Both those cars very quick. Robin Larsen, you've just seen. Mario Barbosa and Gulan Shisharit. So Larson looking P13. Timozyanov is in 12th. In fact, Jerome is down in 14th. So a few people here who are looking to fight their way in, and Shisharit in 10th will want to hold on. Shisharit was given a 5-second penalty in Q3 for contact with Larson in turn 1. So that's dropped him down into this race. They've got the teammates on either side of the grid. Green flag at the back, waiting for the green light at the front. Oh, it's a stall on the inside for Grosjean Santos as well. So Grosjean has gone straight out the back door. Timozyanov with a nice hook up. Larson's going to come in tight behind him on the brakes. Is Shisharit going to go Joker? He does. So Shisharit goes Joker. Larson being really careful. A little bit of barring around into the Joker lap has gone Santos, and Grosjean, you can see, has rejoined. Is he going to come out in P3 or is he going to end up down in P5? So Grosjean back into 4th.
Yeah, it was obviously an awful start for Jerome Grosjean in there, but Gulan Shisharit got a free track. Obviously after that 5-second penalty, he's lying 10th. Very important that he gets a good clear run, but the battle really is Timozyanov and Robin Larson here. They are fighting obviously for 12th position. Timmer obviously in 12th, Robin in 13th.
So he's going to want to be ahead of him, is he? Basically, it's going to come to who's ahead. Of course, we've got to wait and see the times on the other drivers, but this is a straight race, isn't it, Guy, really?
He has to beat Timmer, and obviously there's a 4-point gap between them at the moment. He has to beat him by a good amount of time, so it's going to come down to strategy. They're both on the same strategy at the moment.
Great stuff. Nice to have Guy Wilkes with us in the commentary box, although we preferred seeing him out on track, of course. Into the Joker lap. That looks like Grosjean into the Joker. So Grosjean is now 8.3 off. And looking back out onto the main track, we can see, there we are, Timozyanov up through the last section, and you can see how much the track has cleaned in towards the apex. This guy, you've got to keep the car in tight.
Yeah, absolutely. The sun's come out, but it's not a dry track yet. Yes, it's drying very quickly. It is still windy here, and that obviously does dry the track a lot quicker. So, yeah, Timozyanov just pulling away from Robin Larson here a little bit. Just doing slightly faster lap times by 0.3 of a second roughly per lap.
So Timozyanov on a big push. The Hyundai's impressed me, obviously. WRC chassis like the Polo, but these guys say they've still got some work to do. Certainly they had to strengthen a few things, Guy, because the stress is a 600 horsepower, very different to approximately 300.
Yeah, Thierry Neuville, who drives it, or used to drive it when it was in the WRC, is a good friend of mine, and yeah, so I know a little bit about that car. As a World Rally car, but a World Rallycross car, different guys. These guys haven't had that car very long to do the job they've done, so actually they're probably punching above their weight at the moment for the amount of development time they've actually had compared to everybody else. But back on board here.
That was interesting. You see Larson, as he came in towards the corner, you could see he had to get off the brake and then use the handbrake to change the angle of the car.
Yeah, just not quite fluid, obviously. This is a new car from Solberg's OMSE at the moment.
Tight on the merge, just quickly, tight on the merge. Timozyanov's just going to get it, though. So Timozyanov is just in front of Shisharit, and Larson drops down to P3, and that, of course, helps Timmer in his fight to try and hold on to P12 from Larson in P13. And that's, of course, not to say anybody from behind beats him. I think this might be Timmer just about booking his slot in the semis, Guy.
It is. This is the race. I don't think anything after this is going to affect it. These are the boys that are racing for
yeah, because everybody who's behind them is gone, haven't they? So it's only guys who are in front of them still to come. So Timozyanov is going to come around to take the checkered flag and hopefully a place in the semi-finals from Shisharit and Larson over the line. Who's up next? Grosjean after that disastrous start, and Jerome's not going to make it here because he was P14 ahead of Q3. So both the guys from GCK having to learn the circuit, but I have to say Shisharit's done the better job this weekend. Timozyanov 253.9. Shisharit, Larson, Grosjean and Barbosa. And that is about 3.5 seconds quicker than Demoustier had gone. So track is getting faster.
Tim, it must be good to get a race win, but the big question is, what's the track conditions like?
Yeah, finally we win some. We have a really good start, actually, first time in the wet, and I'm really happy with this one. We are in semi-final now. I passed my main competitors, and now it's a good pace. We will see how it finishes. We don't know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this was a look at the start. Grosjean look just left there, and that's such a sinking feeling, guys, isn't it, when you get the start wrong? It's the race over, isn't it, instantly?
It is, but he did a great job to claw it back, but it's not going to be enough to make the semis, which that's the biggest disappointment for, obviously, GCK, obviously not getting 2 cars in the semis, but at least they have one. Timozyanov, on the other hand, has done a cracking job in there, kept his nose clean, got out in front, and led from start
and
to finish.
He knew what you spotted, of course, which was where everybody was in terms of the points. Timmer knew who he had to beat. He got the job done, and that's it. One of the Hyundais is through to the semis. Will the other one make it? So the quick guys are lining up on the grid now. It's still a wet track. Baumanis on the outside. The Marshal just pushing him slightly back. Look how accurate that gap is that they set. So Sebastian Loeb on the inside next to Matthias Ekström, Niklas Gronholm, Kevin Eriksson and Yannis Baumanis. And there are the tyres. So Baumanis is on old ones, but Kevin Eriksson, Ekström and Loeb are all on new ones. And then Niklas Gronholm with new on the front. We understand they're all wet. So the Marshal's just making one more adjustment. Niklas Gronholm has a little look across to the right. And in a minute, it'll be eyes up towards the start lights. He's waiting for a thumbs up from the Marshal. There it is, hand up onto the gear stick. And there it is, clunked into the gear. That's when it's go time. Ready to race light. That'll go out. It's a random gap to the green light. Oh, everyone away clean. Gronholm a little bit tardy though. Loeb and Ekström are going to drag it out down the straight. Ekström's got a great front here, but Loeb's on his inside. Can Loeb hold him off? Ekström sees he can't shut the door. Goes Joker Baumanis, goes in behind him. Up the inside in the background, there's a nice pass. Is it Niklas Gronholm, I think, has managed to get himself through into P2. So Gronholm goes through, and that drops Kevin Eriksson back into third.
Yeah, Niklas Gronholm was really keen to get on the rear bumper of Sebastian Loeb into that first corner. A little bit of contact, but nothing too much whatsoever.
We saw earlier on, of course, Kevin Hansen making that sensible decision, guy. If you can't get to the inside, and this is why the drivers like the inside here, is basically you can kill the other guy's plan. If you're on the inside and you're halfway up him, they can't get through.
Niklas Gronholm just got slightly crossed up in that corner, then had to come out the throttle to get the car back online. Cost him a little bit of a gap, as you see there, as they pass the camera.
Look at Ekström there in the background. So he's chasing down these guys. A super sideways moment for the ex-world champion. He was the man who, as I said, last-minute decision to go Joker, and it's great. He's given himself a little bit of fresh air, and he's going to hunt this pack now.
And if you remember from Q3, the Audis were very, very quick. Andreas Bakkerud winning, but Matthias Ekström was not far behind whatsoever.
Good to see Bakkerud on the pace, wasn't it? We'll see him in the next one, but yeah, certainly looks like he's found a setup in the car that he likes. So Gronholm's coming under a bit of pressure. Niklas Gronholm currently in P7. Kevin Eriksson, who is behind him, is down in P9. So these guys are both looking likely to go through to the semis unless they have any issues here. Ekström is on the back of them already.
He's on a hard charge here. He's done enough almost already. As long as he doesn't get bogged, he's going to be good.
Oh, gravel showers the spotters tower in which our commentary box is, overlooking the track. Into the Joker lap goes Gronholm. So Gronholm's out, but that doesn't release Matthias Ekström, and that's crucial. So Loeb's out front, and Ekström now is getting checked up by Eriksson.
Yeah, Eriksson's not actually travelling that quick. He's not had great pace this weekend. So Matthias Ekström is actually getting choked a little bit here in this race.
Look at the way they attack the curbs here. This is why everybody loves them. Montalegre second mistake. Mistake from Eriksson. He did well to hold on to that guy.
Yeah, he did. That's exactly what can happen. Matthias Ekström having a sniff here. He's all over him. Big climb over the curbs there from Eriksson, sorry.
Looked like he was struck. There was both two turns in a row. It looked like he hit the curb and it deflected him instead of pulling him in. Ekström's going to look to the inside now because Eriksson's going to have to Joker. Sebastian Loeb, where is Loeb compared to... Oh, there he is around the outside. Ekström looks like he might cover this. He's going to move and shut the door, and Loeb comes out with a whole load of extra speed, but he can't find a way through. And in fact, he nearly lost out to Baumanis.
Baumanis is on him there. He's all over him. I don't think he'll make it past because it's so narrow to the finish here. It's only a mistake that can change the angle. I don't know if there's something wrong with Eriksson's car. It looks like the front diff isn't holding the car into the corner.
Yeah,
maybe
he's
the
struggling,
preload or something.
He's really struggling.
Yeah, maybe the angle he hit the curbs as well.
Target time at the bottom of your screen is 2:53.9. How much faster is this track going to get? We're going to find out from Matthias Ekström now. He crosses the line and the time is 2:52.4. He goes 1.5 seconds on the Russian Timur Zyanov. Loeb and Baumanis really close behind. Wow. So Baumanis doing well to hold on to the back of that train as well. Here's the result. Ekström 2:52.4 from Loeb, Baumanis, Eriksson and Niklas Gronholm. And they're slotting in various places up and down there, but Ekström and Loeb look faster. We've got one race to go. Is the track going to get even quicker?
The car seems to have really come alive today. That was a great race.
No, it was great, but I caught the guys in front, so we have no chance for total time. But car was good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take another look then at the start. So Baumanis on the outside, down towards turn 1. And so we're on board, and you can see there, Ekstrom. That's what I was talking about, making the right decision, guy. If you're not going to get the inside line, and he managed to joker, but luckily he was in clear air.
You're not going to go the long way round around the outside in turn 1 at all. So Matthias had to go joker, really.
There was that problem again for Kevin. And again, he had it in the next corner too. And here was the merge. And I have to say, I thought with Ekstrom being checked up that he maybe wouldn't make it back, but he did.
He did a great job, but Baumanis, we didn't really focus on. He did an awesome job as well.
Yeah, really, really good. One of our individual entrants, fantastic to see the Start machine performing so well. Well, you got all sorts of umbrellas up there, inside out ones and ones that are still working. Everybody in coats. The weather looks like it might be changing again. Last time, the last race of Q3 got away with it. Will the last race of Q4? Andreas Bakkerud flying in the Audi. We've just seen Ekstrom do a good job. Can he do it again? Christopherson and Solberg have spent the weekend recovering from a tricky Q1. Timmy Hansen was rapid yesterday. He's got his brother next to him. I expect to see them split the strategy down at turn 1. Brand new wets across the field. On board with Solberg. He's about to get himself focused. We've noticed that the VW has quite a long start procedure, it seems, to some of the other cars. Their revs often start up. Here we go. Looking at Timmy and Kevin on the outside, Bakkerud on the inside. Look how close the two VWs are. It's not a great start for Solberg. Kevin Hansen's absolutely hooked it up. And now Christopherson moves across. Christopherson shuts the door on Bakkerud. Kevin goes all the way to the inside. Does that release Timmy? But he's too late on the brakes. That's nice. A disaster. Christopherson as well. So that is a disaster. Sideways from Hansen. Ekstrom having a look up the Bakkerud up the inside. Yeah, Bakkerud's gone up the inside of Kevin Hansen. Timmy's now stuck in behind him. Guy, everybody got that wrong.
Yeah, well, actually, Kevin Hansen got a great start. He took a little nudge into turn 1, and I think he just thought, I'm going to get pushed wide here, and accelerate again and went choker.
I think Kevin's been pushed again off the curb. His brother Timmy looks up the inside now. Timmy's going to try and pass Kevin. Is he? They're both going to be sideways at the apex. Timmy might find better traction here, but at the minute, Bakkerud is getting away from them, and Christopherson, again, he was the one who, to me, we'll have to see the replays afterwards, but Christopherson's bottled up on the back of the pack, and this has played into Solberg's hands massively.
Hugely so. He's now into the joker. He's hoping to cut them off straight away.
And I don't think he's going to. Solberg's going to come out with a lot of speed, but Bakkerud manages to shut the door. How close was that? Great for them to react to Bakkerud going into the joker, but Solberg has come out in P2, and we're going to ride on board with him now. These two are fierce rivals, of course, for the publicity and the crown of being the top Norwegian driver in Rallycross. Bakkerud leading from Solberg.
Yeah, we've got a great race now, Hans, here. These are, as long as there's no disasters.
Oh, Solberg a little bit wide.
Oh, it's really snarled it up behind. Kevin Hansen all over the back of him. This is a train.
So Kevin Hansen now, Timmy Hansen has ended up back behind Christopherson, which I don't think we saw, so they come flying past the commentary position now. Kevin late on the brakes. We are seeing some dry patches here. The sun's back out, the weather keeps changing. Guy, what are you seeing on the timing screens?
Andreas Bakkerud's just knocked in a 40.9. It's the first one we've had in the 40s. Everybody else has been in 41s.
So Bakkerud is absolutely flying out front. I'd love to know what they've done to the Audis overnight. Yesterday, the Peugeots were looking like the dominant force. Today, it looks like it might have gone back in the direction of Audi. But what's really interesting, guys, VW are not out front like we saw last year.
No, this is great. It's really mixing it up. Peugeot have come back with great force, and absolutely Audi as well. EKS, you know, they seem to got the setup right today, don't they? And yesterday.
I can't wait for the semi-finals and finals. We get down to knockout, and it comes down to joker strategy and proper like elbows out.
That's what they're all fighting for now, is that semi-final position on the grid. So
Christopherson's going to go to the inside of Kevin. So Kevin with a little moment on the brakes there. Timmy's going to go past through. So Kevin Hansen, did he make a mistake on the brakes down there? Drops from P3 to P5 in just 2 corners.
It's harsh, this game, isn't it?
It is, especially when it's so close. And this is what we love. This is Rallycross as we had a couple of seasons ago when you never knew who was getting a win. They're coming around the last couple of corners. Bottom right of your screen is the target time, 2:52.4. Matthias Ekstrom leading. His teammate Bakkerud hunts down the clock and the checker flag over the line. And it is a 2:50.6. Bakkerud wins Q4, so that's 2 wins for Bakkerud. He won Q3 as well. And Sebastian Loeb, where is Loeb going to finish overall on the timesheets? 2:53.5, doing a bit of maths down here. I think Bakkerud might have done enough there to take the TQ. So Bakkerud 250.6 from Solberg, Kristoffersen, Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen. What a race that was. They go to the top of the standings there. Ekstrom drops down. Sebastian Loeb's down in P5. It was pretty close on the points. It's going to be between Loeb and Bakkerud, and we'll find out in a minute who goes top qualifier here in Portugal.
Watch this yellow car. Kevin Hansen gets a great start, comes across the inside. Does he take a tap? Oh,
it's hard to tell, isn't it?
Kristoffersen also, he ran on too long.
Bakkerud did a great job here to get up the inside. Peugeot, I'm pretty sure, would have tried to split the strategy, wouldn't they? And it almost felt like Kevin had got the better start than Timmy, and then they had to change plan.
It was a mistake, definitely, I think, but he was trying to outbrake Kristoffersen, and Kristoffersen also outbraked himself, so...
That merge is so fast here, it's really committed, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, absolutely brilliant racing. Look at this, tiny mistake, bang, 2 places down. What a race. Absolutely fantastic way to round out qualifying here at round 2 of the 2018 FIA World Rallycross Championship.
Andreas, you're completely unbeatable today. We've got to ask, what has changed with the car and with you?
Getting more and more comfortable, getting more and more good feedbacks, getting more in the flow, and changing a team, changing a car takes time, and now I feel like finally I drive the car, not the car driving me. So yeah, getting more and more flow, and it feels good.
Well, I can tell you that you are top qualifier going into the semi-finals.
Yeah, that's also very good. Like I hit 1 milestone in Q3 with setting the bar there. First qualifying win with the new Audi S1 EKS RX. So yeah, I'm stoked. I can't wait to get into the semi-finals and final. I think it will be a hell of a race.
We hope so. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes, he's pleased, isn't he? Played it cool, but 2 wins in Q3 and Q4 sees Andreas Bakkerud knock Sebastian Loeb off the top spot at the last gasp. He is top qualifier here for his brand new team. Fantastic. Loeb is in second for Peugeot. Then we've got Matthias Ekstrom with the Audi. Then we've got the Peugeot, Timmy Hansen in 4th. The Volkswagens are down in 5th and 6th. Kevin Hansen makes it through in the 3rd Peugeot. Kevin Eriksson is up there in P8. That's good for him to be in the semis. Niklas Gronholm in the Hyundai and Timothy down in P12. Look, so both of Hyundai's are in again. Janis Baumanis as an individual entrant is in, and Gulan Schischeret puts one of the Renault Megane RSs through to the semi-finals. Unlucky for Larsen and Grosse Janin, they miss out. Well, what a day we have had so far here at Montalegre in Portugal. You can see the top of the mountains now. You couldn't see them earlier. We've had bright sunshine, we've had heavy snow, we've had rain, but finally we've got a dry track. Been absolutely brilliant. It's been a roller coaster. Of course, your TQ man is Andreas Bakkerud. It's his first TQ for his brand new team, EKS RX Audi Sport, which he was very, very happy with indeed. And this is actually his 51st event. So last time out in Barcelona, we hit the 50 mark. We've got a 50 club, which is Andreas Bakkerud, Petter Solberg, Timmy Hansen and Timothy Hansen. They are the only 4 drivers who have done every single World Rallycross event since we started in 2014. We're going to have a look at a couple of their stats before we get stuck into the semi-finals. So here is Andreas Bakkerud. So 50 events, as I say, for the likeable young Norwegian, just 26 years old. Entered in 2014, as did everyone, of course, who's on the Magic 50. 33 finals, 29 podiums. These are impressive stats, you can see, and 6 wins. He hasn't had one of those for quite some time. 2016 was his last one, but look at that. 92% of the time through to the semi-finals and 66 through to the final. Will he reach the podium today? He's the top qualifier. We'll find out soon enough.
Well, Andreas, of all the 50 World Rallycross events you've competed in that rare club, this certainly must be one of the coldest days in the World Rallycross history.
Definitely, it is really cold here on the pre-grid. You see all the drivers wearing jackets, and you see the crowd here is like tightening up next to each other. So yeah, it's really cold, windy, and you know, it's the game of this early of the year. It's pretty cold up here in the mountains.
And give us a sense of what these 50 events have meant to you, some of the highlights and the experience it's brought you to be on pole position for one of the semi-finals.
Well, as you said, 50 races. I've been in a few different teams. I've had a great time with every one of them. I have had some ups and downs. I've fight my best and I don't regret anything I did.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Good luck in the semi.
Thank you so much.
Great performance, I think, Guy, from Andreas today, you know, top qualifier. I wouldn't have said the Audi was necessarily underneath him in Barcelona, but it looks like it is here.
The car looks fantastic, so all credit to EKS, but don't be fooled by his persona. He is a hard racer. Firm and in the general, like he said, I don't have any regrets. More times than not, he's very fair. Good racer.
Well, there's a Petter Solberg flag. Look at the very back of the grandstand, and that's appropriate because we're going to be able to have a look at some of Petter's stats as well. Of course, a massive rival for Andreas Bakkerud, the two of them coming from Norway. Bakkerud after the crown, but I think it's firmly with Solberg still at the minute. Of course, he's twice a World Rallycross champion and once a World Rally champion. Here are his stats. So Petter Solberg, he's a little bit older, but that's okay. 43 years old, Torsby in Norway, 50 events. I say he's in the 50 club. 39 times in the final, 24 podiums. That's half the time he's been here. 10 event wins, and there are only 3 drivers who are on 10 event wins. Solberg, his teammate Kristoffersen, and Matthias Ekström. 98% of the time through to the semi-finals. 48% onto the podium. I mean, mega. And 20%, he's one of our most prolific winners. Here he is with Neil.
So, Petter Solberg, of all the 50 events up until this point, the crowds just keep getting better and better at World Rallycross, don't they?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And here in Portugal, it's always been very, very good. And I remember the first victory I had here, it was unbelievable. So, yeah, it's great.
Now, we've just been looking at some of your stats in this sport, and it's very, very impressive, and you're still here in the semi-finals, still strong, but the competition's got a little bit stronger this year.
It's very hard. It's unbelievable. You know, we knew it should be like that. You know, they have been developing and done a lot of job, and it's so tight and small mistake, you're finished. So I think that's Rallycross. That makes it very exciting. Okay, me and Johan, we maybe don't have the perfect position, but this is the game. We have to raise a level, and but we're going to give everything in the semi now.
And give us a sense of what the track conditions are like here at Montalegre, because they've changed so much, but this really suits your driving style, I think.
Yep, but we're actually struggling on the gravel. You know, I'm fastest on the tarmac, but we are struggling a little bit there. And yeah, a little bit surprising, because on gravel I'm pretty good. But by the end of the day, you know, it's so the conditions between every run can change. You know, I lost a lot in the first heat yesterday, and that held me back a lot through the whole weekend. And this is something you have to expect. You know, it's outside door sport. You know, what can you do? At the same time, we were quite lucky in the last heat, in the fourth heat, that it didn't come more rain. That could also destroyed a lot. So we are pleased to be in the semi.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Solberg, yeah, a little bit on the back foot here, Guy, but he clearly loves this sport, doesn't he? I think it's great to see someone who's had such a long career in motorsport, still enthusiastic about competing at it at the highest level. And Rallycross is short and sharp. I think it's quite exciting, isn't it, for everyone? Yeah, well, obviously, he started his career in Rallycross, went to Rally and has come back to it. He bought into the World Rallycross Championship right at the beginning, as committed as ever, 110%. And it's paid dividends. You know, he's having a great time. Obviously, he got a fantastic deal with VW. They came on board, and look at the last, well, year and a half that they've had. It's been unbelievable. Indeed, very good. Are they going to maintain that dominance this year? Because we've got Peugeot, who are putting them under a huge amount of pressure. And talking of Peugeot, Neil Cole has actually just managed to find Timmy Hansen down on the grid. So let's go and hear from Timmy now.
Timmy, you're part of that rare club. Only 4 drivers who've done 50 events in the World Rallycross Championship. Give us a sense of what that means to you as still a young driver, still competing at the front end.
I think it's easy why you want to continue this atmosphere right here. The music is playing, the crowd is absolutely crazy, and being just ahead of the semi-final, that feeling, it's impossible to get anywhere else. And I'm happy I've been able to do this many races, and I hope there is at least 50 more to come.
Now, it's great to see that you found something special in the Peugeot this weekend. Could this be a first victory of the year?
Yes.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
The smile and the laugh tells you all you need to know. Yes, says Timmy Hansen. He could be back on the top step of the podium. So 50 events for Timmy as well. 25 years old, 33 finals. Very impressive indeed. 22 podiums. Been a while since we've seen him on that top step. 5 event wins. Is he going to get another one here? They're looking very strong. Incredible consistency from our top 3 guys. 66% into the final. and 44% on the podium. We've got one more man in the 50 club, and it's the legendary Russian Timur Zyanov.
Timur, it's great to see you still competing at the very sharp end of this sport after 50 events. You've been in this since the very beginning. Tell us how it's developed.
Actually, it's my life. Rallycross is my blood now, and it will stay, I think, forever. We're spending a lot of days, a lot of years here in Rallycross, and I really like it since I was starting to drive it.
And we've seen you in a few different teams, a few different cars, but this new car seems to be up to speed very quickly.
Yeah, we're progressing per race, and I think we are waiting for some good things for Belgium. It will be even more competitive. At the moment, we're trying to catch out maximum points as we can, but we will continue to fight. The season is long. Nothing is finished yet.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you.
Well, Timur Zyanov, a double European Rallycross champion in Supercar, and of course, previous to that, Super 1600 champion, 31 years old. He's in our 50 club. He's the only one of our 50 club drivers who hasn't won. 11 times through to the final, 2 podiums, just hasn't quite had the pace, 0 wins, but this guy is rapid. He very nearly won against Bakkerud a couple of years ago in Norway, had that puncture at the bottom of the hill, and I think that would have given him that one win that he's so desperate to get. He wants more than one, of course, but we'd like to see that 0% have a little rise here for Timur Zyanov. It's been great to have the Russian along with us for every single one of those 50 events. Fantastic, great to catch up with everyone in the 50 club. So Bakkerud on the top qualifier spot, Guy. You know, we're coming up towards semi-final time. Who's your money on?
I've got to say that, well, for the win or for the semi-final?
For the wins. For the win. Yeah, for the win. Obviously, they've got to navigate the semi first, but, you know, come on, let's go for it.
Andreas Bakkerud, but do not discount Timmy Hansen. He has been an electric pace when he's had a run that he's not been balked on.
Well, this is the thing that I'm interested in too, is yesterday it was maybe a little bit drier than it was today. Yesterday, the Peugeot for me was the car of the field. You know, suddenly we've had wet conditions today. The Audi for me was the car of the field. But, you know, now we're coming up, dry conditions again. Who's going to make it through from the semi-finals to the final, and who is going to take the win here at round 2 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship 2018? Kristoffersen down on the grid. The Polos are slightly off the pace of the others here. That's not fair to say off the pace, is it? But I mean, they're not killing it like they were last year. But I'll tell you what, let's have a look at some of the starts from Q4, and we can maybe see some of the reasons why they haven't been quite at the sharp end. So this was the first of the races, so this is only a 3-car encounter, Guy, and this isn't quite so hard. Again, look at the track conditions. It was hard for the guys to judge the braking zones. This was the time where Bennett did get it stopped, and he used the handbrake on the way in. It's more interesting to Moussier, in fact, getting underneath him. But for me, I'm really keen to see the 4 and 5 car starts. So here we go. Grossage in, but here, Shisha it down the outside.
Brand new car, obviously getting good starts straight away. You know, they've got a decent launch strategy with one car, the other one, but it might have been split slightly, you know, to try and maximize traction. It's very difficult to get the RPM right, so you get a good traction without too much wheel spin, but obviously you don't want to stall.
This was Ekstrom versus Loeb. Ekstrom with an absolutely brilliant start, but actually didn't even try to shut the door, and Loeb just fired it into the Joker, and that can work too.
It can be strategy, because if you're in the inside lane or P2, then you can really balk everybody else by diving down there.
Now this was where Kristoffersen, I think, ended. Was it for it? Yeah. So he got bundled off and ended up going to the Joker. Watch Bakkerud. He was P5 on the braking zone. Kristoffersen changed his mind.
Yeah, I mean, it was for those guys, how experienced they are. It was a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
But that can happen here because your strategy is really only made after other people make it, especially when you're behind them.
We saw all 5 into the Joker last year. Do you remember? It might have been one of your races, Guy.
Definitely not.
but that's what, as you said, that's what can happen. If everyone's looking for everyone else and suddenly you're like, oh no, we're all a bit deep here, we're all jokered.
I was trying to outbrake Timo Schneider. I was on the inside, he was in P2, and we ended up running too deep in the corner.
5 into the Joker.
And disaster.
5 spotters left the bus immediately. Wow, might as well go back to the tent.
Yeah.
On board with Niklas Granov. Niklas is doing well, isn't he? He's been impressive, I think. Where's he qualified today? Niklas is on row 3 of semi-final number 1. So good job by him. Looks nice and relaxed in the car.
His dad was actually telling me he's a bit under the weather. He's not feeling too great. And I did actually notice that in Q3 and 4 today, he just seemed to tailed off his consistency through Barcelona and Q1 and 2 here yesterday. was good, and he looked like he was just getting a little bit quicker and a little bit more comfortable in the car. But yeah, that kind of confirmed what we saw in Q3 and Q4. He's just feeling under the weather, not too great.
Andreas Bakkerud with the top qualifier spot. Is it going to be enough to see him take his first win for his new team? His first win since 2016. It's not long till we find out. What a track to host round 2 of the 2018 FIA World Rallycross Championship. We've seen everything. I've been in shorts and t-shirt here, and today I've got as many layers on as I could possibly find. It's been down at 0 degrees. We've had heavy snow. I think it's the coldest Rallycross event I've ever been at, but the action has been anything but. It has been hot the entire way through. My name is Andrew Coley. Joining me on commentary this weekend is Guy Wilkson, reporting from the paddock and the spotters tower, as always, is Neil Cole. There's Andreas Bakkerud. He is your top qualifier. Let's have a look at where everybody else finished after the 4 qualifying sessions, as we see Bakkerud getting ready for the fight to make it through to the final. Here we go then. Our top 16. Bakkerud, Loeb, Ekstrom and Hansen. Kristoffersen and Solberg in 5th and 6th. This is the first time that the Volkswagen Polos haven't been on the front row of the semi-finals since they joined the championship in an official capacity as a manufacturer. Kevin Hansen, Kevin Eriksson have made it. Gronholm, Baumanis as an individual entrant. Schieserick gets one of the Renault Megane GCK through. Timosyanov ensures that both the Hyundais are through. Our regulars, the biggest surprises, I suppose, are Larson and Grossation in. And a couple of points there for some of the tail runners as well. Remember, the top 16 get championship points after qualifying. Only the top 12 go through. The odds go through to semi-final 1, and the evens go through to semi-final 2. We are in for a couple of brilliant semi-finals. Neil Cole caught up with Sebastian Loeb earlier. Let's hear from the French legend.
Sebastian, the car looks to be very quick this weekend, and you've put yourself in the perfect position, pole for semi-final 2.
Yeah, it's a good position. Everything has been good, perfect yesterday. A bit more complicated today with the wet condition. We are struggling a bit more, but at the end, still second overall. So first place for the semi. We will see. We'll have to push, I think.
It's a good position into turn 1. You've been quick off the line here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in a good position. Now I need to take a good start and try to keep this position until turn 1, and then hopefully until the end of the race.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Semi-final 1 on the line and ready to go. This is going to be absolutely fantastic, and we have got a pair of Audis on the front row. We're going to see them split the strategy. Are Volkswagen going to be able to spoil the party? Could Kevin Hansen in the 3rd Peugeot get the job done from row 2? Or maybe one of those 2 at the back of the grid could get it as well. Cannot wait to see the action. The Monster Energy girls are about to leave the grid. There they go, and that means the drivers can start to get fully nervous for the launch down the long straight at Montalegre. So the 2 Audis, Ekstrom and Bakkerud. Bakkerud with the top qualifier spot. I think they'll split the strategy, but it will depend a bit on what traction they get off the line. Johan Kristoffersen will be looking to sneak through. He'll find it hard to get to the inside because they're sure to close that door. Kevin Hansen could head to the outside. Niklas Gronholm and Gulan Schieserick bringing up the rear. 6 cars all fired up and good to go. One marshal to give us a thumbs up. And then we can get elbows out and heads down on the run down to turn 1. There we go. He gives a thumbs up. We hear the low rumble of the anti-lag. Watch for the ready to race light. The revs are up. That'll go out, and then it's going to be a green for semi-final number 1. Oh, it's an even start. Kristoffersen got good traction. Bakkerud's got the best start. The 2 Audis. Bakkerud moves across. Ekstrom tries to slot in behind him. So it's Bakkerud and Ekstrom down towards turn 1. Ekstrom's early on the brakes. He's going to try and go around the outside of Bakkerud. Bakkerud's got the inside line. The Ekstrom on his own. Kristoffersen's done them both. The two Audis have gone in there, and Christopherson has got both of them on the way out of turn one. Gronholm slots into fourth. Schischrit and Hansen have gone Joker. Guy.
Yeah, they both went for obviously turn one, which they did make, but it seems strange. We thought when we talked about it before they would split the strategy, but maybe they just thought they were definitely going to try and block the VW of Kristoffersen out. It didn't work.
No, it didn't. I mean, it looked to me like Ekstrom got a little bit too deep, and then Bakkerud obviously didn't want to get in the side of his own team leader on the way into turn one, but for me that hasn't worked out.
No, and Schischrit and Kevin Hansen have actually choked, so given themselves a bit of free air. Now Schischrit's got nothing to lose. He was on the back, so this could get a little bit dangerous for the other guys. He's actually very close to Ekstrom.
And we haven't seen Kevin Hansen come over the start-finish line, so Kevin Hansen has not triggered the timing beam at the start-finish line. And so Schischrit then is the man who's joking. He's 2.6 back. Kevin Hansen showing back as 7.8. But we can't see where Kevin is, so Kevin may have retired out on the circuit. Kristoffersen, we're on board with Bakkerud now. Watch this, down the gears. Bit of handbrake on the inside. He's on the throttle really, really early, trying to find his way up alongside the VW.
Yeah, much straighter out of that corner, the exit. He got the car nice and squared off early. He's really on Kristoffersen, but he's been quick today. He's got good confidence, and he's going to try and make sure he closes down on Johan.
Bit of damage to the front left corner there. Johan Kristoffersen fastest lap of the day, and that goes to show how the track conditions are developed here.
Yeah, absolutely. The line is cleaning as we're getting further into the day, and obviously that's going to mean faster lap times, but the pace is really hot out there. Gillane is just getting dropped a little bit. He needs to try and close that gap if he's got any chance of making the semis.
What do you think the Joker lap gap is? 3-ish?
Yeah, 3 to 3.5.
3 to 3.5 seconds. Kristoffersen, this is brilliant too. The VWs didn't get the best draw. They were hampered a bit by an early draw in Q1, which meant they were out on the track with a lot of loose gravel on it. Through the course of the weekend, they worked their way out. Say 5th and 6th isn't brilliant for them, but you certainly can't count them out. They haven't looked like they've had the pace, and yet look at this, another fastest lap of the day, just when it counts. Kristoffersen, who's won 8 out of the 10 last World Rallycross Championship events, is smashing it.
He always pulls it out when it matters, doesn't he?
Yeah, pressure just doesn't seem to affect him at all. It's almost like he relishes it. Okay, so there is our predictor, and our predictor's saying it's actually going to be really close between Kristoffersen and Schischrit, so could be super close on the merge. Will they send Kristoffersen early? But then I think if he's setting fastest laps, they know he's gapping Schischrit.
Free air, keep him going, I would say, but David Mansfield, Gillane Schischrit's spotter will be hard on his case without trying to let him make a mistake, but he's got to push, okay.
Ekstrom goes into the joker lap. Is this to try and cover Kristoffersen? Cover off Schischrit behind, and Schischrit has got him.
Wow.
Schischrit has got him. This is
Great
a brilliant
drive.
Result. So Ekstrom now then needs to get past, and like I say, so he was just a little way back. If you look at the gap between Ekstrom and Bakkerud could be in danger here if he doesn't head in. Well, he's going to have to head in anyway.
Yes.
Okay, so where is Schischrit going to come out of this? Is he going to put the Renault Megane through to the final? We'll see. This is a very impressive drive. He's never been here before. His teammate, cross-section in, didn't make the semi-finals, but Schischrit is on a big, big push. So is Kristoffersen. Into the joker lap goes the leader. Andreas Bakkerud goes with him. We're watching now for the GCK team owner and driver. Gillane Schischrit's going to be close between him. Oh, he's run a bit wide. Schischrit's run wide. Ekstrom's all over the back of him. He's going to try and find a way through, but he can't quite get it done. Schischrit round to the left and round to the right. He's just holding on to P3, but Kristoffersen and Bakkerud cleanly out.
We've got to watch this closely because Matthias Ekstrom is not going to give this up easily. Gillane Schischrit isn't neither. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable if Gillane can hold on to this.
He's up the inside. He's up the inside. Ekstrom tried so hard to get through. He was alongside him. Kristoffersen's going to take the semi-final. P2 goes to Bakkerud. Gillane Schischrit, what a drive for third place. Brilliant stuff from the Frenchman. Fantastic performance.
That is absolutely the performance of the weekend so far. Gillane Schischrit to get that car into the final, a car that is 2 events old.
100%, and he's never been here. He's never been here. Amazing. Ekstrom won here last year, and Schischrit's just edged him for a place in the final. Brilliant. Crowd loved it. We loved it. Hope you did at home. 6 points to Kristoffersen, the world champion, who brings the VW back onto the front row at the crucial moment. Andreas Bakkerud in P2, Gillane Schischrit in P3. Ekstrom, Gronholm and Kevin Hansen are out. Neil Cole is with our race winner, Johan Kristoffersen. We can hear from him now.
Johan, that was an incredible move down into turn 1 and then just bashed in quick laps. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the Audi guys are so smart, they caught them out themselves.
So now the same plan for the final, I guess?
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next... first of all, I have to fix the door that Bakkerud crashed into me after the heat. But I have good guys, so it's no problem.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there's definitely a bit of needle between the Audis and the VWs building. This was it, down towards turn 1. Look, so Ekstrom's, it's almost like Bakkerud was going to let Ekstrom go. Kevin, loads
was in
of
the
damage.
back of him. Yeah, he was in the back of Matthias, but nevertheless, I don't think it was really going to work, and I was so surprised, as we all were, that they didn't split the strategy. I think that's where it went wrong, right in the first corner. But
odd strategy, I think. Interesting what Kristoffersen said. Have they outsmarted themselves?
Potentially, you know. And like you said, there's a lot of needle going on there at the moment.
What about this man? I think Shishirit, brilliant drive there, has to be said.
Unbelievable drive. I mean, I drove as teammates with him a few years ago in the Mini, and he's pulled out all the stops, both as a driver, as a team owner, to make this happen. And obviously, they've got a great car that Pro Driver built. What an awesome job. Second event and going to the final.
Crowd have got the hoods up because it is pretty cold. It's currently 3.7 degrees, but that's pretty warm compared to today. We've had it down at 0.8, but the Portuguese fans love this sport enough that they will be here whatever, and that is all the proof you need. What a brilliant crowd at the top of a beautiful mountain. Well, they enjoyed semi-final 1. I did. I think there's a few surprises there. You know, VW back on top of the pace. You know, Shishirit making it through an Ekstrom not. You know, Peugeots are up next with and Solberg. I mean, we're gonna have another look at the start. Okay, we're gonna see this from Gronholm. So Gronholm's on board, and it's gonna show us the run down to turn 1. Guy Wilkes can talk us through this. He's raced here, so here we go.
Yeah, so he's obviously looking, it's funneling down on him. He's thinking of his options. Obviously, he's got Johan Kristoffersen. Watch the yellow Peugeot in the back of Matthias Ekstrom, and he's now obviously balked. Oh, indecision there. He didn't know what to do. He knew he wasn't getting released, and that's the problem that happens. It can get bottled up so easily, but there's spice already, isn't there? There's only one semi in.
And that's what's cost Ekstrom. And I was surprised at the damage on the front of Kevin's car. It shows how hard he hit him. So, you know, he went very hard and late there. But again, this is the first time these guys have had a dry braking zone, but it's still cold, Guy. They're on cold tyres, cold tarmac. You know, he's got it wrong.
There's a lot at stake as well, Andrew. We're talking World Championship final at stake here, and that is where it all either went right or wrong into the first corner for a lot of these guys, half the field.
I have to say as well, Gronholm, really impressive too. He's really come on. Right, we're going to have another look now. Last lap of the race. So, this is your leader, Kristoffersen, heading into the Joker lap with Andreas Bakkerud behind him.
And watch Matthias Ekstrom here as he comes out the Joker, and we're looking for Gillen Shishirit on the inside. We thought he'd just let it drift too far wide. Sorry, Bakkerud was on the inside. Ekstrom was behind him. Now here, obviously he's got him covered up, but there's a little bit of needle and bit of nibble from Matthias from behind. Nothing unfair, as it generally progresses around here, this section
and I
here.
have to say, Ekstrom, I think, was fair here too, because he got alongside Shishirit, and although it was side-by-side contact, yeah, he always says he likes a fair race. Watch for it here. And I think that's pretty fair, because he could maybe attack.
He backed off actually there to let Gillen back in, because he knew he would have had to snowplow him out of the way if he was going to take third.
Good on Matthias Ekstrom.
He gave it a go.
Good on him. And I think probably without the turn 1 thing, maybe you know, it would have been a different story. He lost a bit of time there. But we were watching, of course, the gap from Kristoffersen, and Kristoffersen was going faster and faster and faster. And you know, I guess the spotters needed to be watching the gap back to Shishirit, and Shishirit was flying.
Yeah, you've got to say, great job from the team for strategy. You know, a lot of things that they've done right, and they're only 2 events in. I think we've got to give them praise for that, absolutely. You know, we're looking at the second semi-final coming towards the grid now, and with the way that one's gone, if this one's as good, then it's going to be a great final as well.
Petter on board, little click on the start button. He can't beat the build-up to a race, can he? Like, just going into full focus mode as Sebastian Loeb pulls up to the jump start centre. And it's going to be teammates off the line in this one as well. Will Peugeot split the strategy, or are they going to go for dominance? Timmy Hansen rolls up to his slot on the front of the grid. Neil Cole is with PSRX's Fabrice van Ertveld, who is up in the spotters tower.
Fabrice, that was a great move by Johan in semi-final 1. Do you think Petter can do the same from P3 on the grid?
Yeah, indeed, it was really nice. It was a clean start from Johan. He could benefit from the misunderstanding, I think, between the Audis to take the lead and to keep it till the end. We really hope Petter can do the same.
Okay, well, look close. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you.
Monster Energy girls are on the grid. The cars are rolling up to take their places. This is going to be fantastic. Semi-final 2, if it's anything like semi-final number 1, is going to be good from start to finish. Are we going to get some surprises in this? Might we see the likes of Baumanis, Ericsson or Timosjanov, our 50 club man? Imagine if our last member of the 50 club got that win today. Be absolutely over the moon. A crowd of 25,000 here over the weekend to witness this brilliant racing. So teammates Sebastian Loeb and Timmy Hansen on row 1 of semi-final 2. Will they split the strategy? Will they try and do an Audi? Will they outsmart themselves? Solberg is in the same position that Kristoffersen was in to pick up the pieces if they do. Kevin Eriksson would love to make it through to the final after a not great run back in Barcelona. Yanis Baumanis and Timosjanov last year teammates, this year not. Be good to see if they can pick up any of the pieces as well. Well, nervous times for the drivers in the car. Guy, this is fun, isn't it? You know, this is where the adrenaline really starts to pump.
Yeah, Timmy with his usual build-up, the big slap of his arms, shoulders. He likes to psych himself up and...
I love it, but it's great, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, different drivers have different methods.
Look, he squats himself down in the seat. One last tighten of the belts. Flick the anti-lag buttons on the Marshall. Eye contact with all 6 of the drivers to make sure that they're good to go. Finally now we're going to unleash the cars down towards turn 1. Green flag ready to race. Oh, Solberg's dipped it at the start. Solberg's gone. Loeb and Hansen racing down towards turn 1. Baumanis moves across. It's a bad start in the background as well. Who's gone? It's Timosjanov who's disappeared. Yep. Baumanis goes deep on the brakes with Hansen down towards into the standard lap. So 3 cars into the Joker immediate. Baumanis, Ericsson and Timmy Hansen. Solberg then slots into P2, but after a disastrous start. And it is Sebastian Loeb who's out front.
It's exactly what some of the guys at the back needed if they're going to make the final. You know, Baumanis had a good start. Obviously, Tim has been dumped way back from the stalling on the start, but Petter just sliding a little bit wide, as was Timmy Hansen. But yeah, they're back on it now, and Sebastian Loeb's obviously leading this one. That's most important. But 4th place, 3rd and 4th, that's where the battle is right now.
What happened for poor old Solberg? We saw him earlier get a perfect start in really tricky conditions. Then it's a little bit drier, Guy, and he's got it wrong.
Obviously, it's all done by hand, you know, and your feet. The launch, it's all manual, so...
Ericsson and Baumanis together in turn 1. Ericsson's ended up in the barrier. Hard wheel spin, trying to get over the curve. Baumanis is on a go slow.
Stalled.
What's happened? So Baumanis has had a problem, and Ericsson, the 2 of them have come together. Oh, dear. Loeb riding the curbs out front, but that was not ideal for Baumanis and Kevin Ericsson. That might have played into Solberg's hands.
I think the rain's just come as well. This is going to get even better.
It is. There is rain against the windows in the commentary position. We ride on board with Timmy Hansen. In front of him is Petter Solberg, who hasn't joked. It's pouring with rain. It's absolutely chucking it down. The crowd is coming in fast here. We've got snowflakes as well. You could not write what's happening this weekend.
Petter Solberg indecision then. He went to the Joker, but he braked to try and go standard lap. I don't know if he just lost it a little bit on the brakes and thought he couldn't make it.
He's covering up the guys behind the Solberg after an absolutely disastrous... He messed it up, but he's still gone. He's got them. He's got, even if it was by accident, it's actually worked in his favour.
Yes.
So that contact between Baumanis and contact again from the commentary position, we can see Baumanis and Ericsson are absolutely going at it across from us. You're looking at Sebastian Loeb. Remember, these guys all switched to dry tyres just in the pre-grid, and now they're fighting for grip to hold on to it. Loeb's out with the lead, and Solberg will be hoping here, because of course Loeb's now going to be hemorrhaging time. Can he make enough of a gap to catch up to him?
Absolutely. You can see these cars sliding around those slick tyres. Loeb into the Joker now, so this is really critical.
So Loeb's in the Joker. His teammate Timmy Hansen leads on the standard lap. Hansen's going to try and push the car wide. He want to hold on even from Loeb. Loeb stopped out just in front. Wow, that was close. Loeb from Hansen, the 2 Peugeots on a 1-2. But for me, the man with the get-out-of-jail-free card here is Petter Solberg. We're on board. Look how hard they're having to work, guys.
Absolutely. How has Petter Solberg got there? But let's have a look at Hansen here. Timmy Hansen is taking off the curb a little bit there because they get wet and you can push the front end of the car out too much. See there, they're just trying to get the grip. What little grip there is there on a slick tyre in these conditions. That's tarmac. It's supposed to be gravel, but that's actually tarmac that it's eaten away to now. These guys are trying hard.
The water is pouring through the front of the commentary box into the spotters tower. You can see it down on the straight. Loeb and Hansen being careful not to look at Loeb front wide. Hansen's looking up the inside of his teammate.
Steady.
Hansen takes the lead. Hansen takes the lead of the semi-final. He nearly won his semi-final in Barcelona. He had a technical problem on the last lap, and it cost him that win. And now he's got his teammate Sebastian Loeb can make a mistake. Like anything can happen. This is not over.
No, forget the times. They're not racing the clock here. It's just purely position. So, you know, this is not over yet because they want to be on the front row of the grid, so watch Petter Solberg go like crazy in this last lap.
Look at the weather. You rarely see the weather on the television. We have to tell you about it. You can see it's pouring with rain. These guys are in a train now. It's so tight. Is anyone going to be brave enough to make a move on the brakes at the end of the straight on the last lap? Look how wet the camera is. Loeb looks up the inside of Hanson. Don't take him out. They cover off Solberg behind. Solberg's going to try and find the traction, but he can't.
No, he can't. He went wide into the first corner to try and cut them back, but they really slowed it down, both the Peugeots in the middle of the corner. Great racing. That's what you should do to make sure that somebody can't nip up the inside on the exit.
Oh, this is brilliant. The conditions have changed all weekend. The pace of the front runners, who's just got that little edge, has changed. It went VW's way just recently with Chris Thompson. Earlier it was with the Peugeots, then it was with the Audis. This is the last lap of semi-final number 2. Timmy Hansen's going to get the job done that he couldn't get done in Barcelona. He goes through and will take the win in semi-final number 2 to take his place on the front of the grid from his teammate Loeb. And Solberg, after a disastrous start, helped by Baumanis and Ericsson, who crossed the finish line now in the background. Wow.
What could have been for Baumanis and Ericsson?
I know.
If they'd have had a fair fight.
With Timmerjana was, he was so far, he was in a different postcode. Again, he was so far out the back, unfortunately. It's still snowing, by the way. Now it's calmed down. Our poor spectators, they're a hardy lot, though, aren't they?
They've been treated there, though, with those 2 semi-finals. Worth staying for.
Timmy Hansen takes semi-final number 2 from his teammate Sebastian Loeb. Picked up the pieces when Loeb dropped it wide. Solberg picked up the biggest pieces, though. Baumanis and Ericsson came together. We'll have a look at the replays and try and figure it out. Timmerjanov really unlucky at the start. Right, let's have a look then at the start, guys. So there was the bad start, and so, okay, both of them.
But he got started really quick, Solberg.
Yeah.
He didn't actually lose that much, but he's fighting like hell straight away. Okay,
so
Baumanis.
they split the strategy, which I think was the right. I still maintain Audi should have done that.
Yes.
But guys, I'm looking to see what happened maybe, okay, between these two. So Baumanis and Ericsson. Ericsson looks up, okay, he's looked up the inside and he's got it wrong.
Look how much time they lose, though.
Both
to 1, 2, 3. 3.5, maybe 4 seconds.
On the timing screen, 4. Okay, so it might have been close, but Solberg would have had a much tougher job had he been merging with those two than having clear track. So this was Loeb then leading from Timmy Hansen. Baumanis and Ericsson continued a bit of a scrap. You didn't see all of it. We saw some good contact from here. Look at this Hansen beautifully up the inside, and then the two of them use all the track, and he just stops in front. Great stuff.
And respect from each other. That was beautifully clean in such tricky conditions.
It's going to be a brilliant, brilliant fight, isn't it, in the final?
Awesome.
Cannot wait. Oh, there you go. Welcome to Portugal.
They said.
Come to Portugal. Oh, no. It's absolutely hurling it down, and they're desperately, they're waiting. They've got 2 more races. You've got a Super 600 final and a World Championship final still to come. It's worth hanging around for. There we go, that's Timmy Hansen rushing back to the paddock. The crew are running after the cars because, Guy, now this is turnaround time. You know, particularly if you're in semi-final number 2, you know, you've got to absolutely get this right.
Absolutely, and luckily the Peugeot team don't have much damage. Those cars were out in front all the time. Obviously, Solberg didn't either. So, you know, if you're in semi-2, you have a lot less time to turn the car around than you do if your car's in semi-1. Class, it is unfair, that's Rallycross, but look at these guys staying
jumping
warm.
up and down. I was jumping up and down here with excitement, but partly to keep warm as well. I mean, so just we have a new gadget on our time machine, which I love, which is air temperature, and it's dropped. You remember when you joined us? If you joined us at 3 p.m. Local time, it was 3.8. It's 1.8 again. The temperature's dropped by 2 degrees, and the change. We could see the bottom of the valley at the start of semi-final 1. We can't see the other side of the track now. Incredible. Fans are waving. They've just watched some brilliant action from this man, Solberg, who had a disastrous start, but managed to... Look how close the merge was, Guy.
It was. That was brave from Sebastian, and obviously clean from Timmy. But, yeah, their teammates, you'd expect no more from that. But, obviously, you can see how... This is just as the rain's starting to come, how ginger he is on the throttle. You can just watch his right foot down there in the footwell, and obviously a bit of handbrake just to try and get the car turned. He's trying to get on the throttle. This corner is a really long late apex, and try and get it as straight as possible. Climb this curve, watch the Armco. A lot of balance going on with the feet.
It's lovely that you can see the feet from that shot, isn't it? It's just so much on the throttle and a tiny bit on the brake to get the weight transfer. And full concentration from Solberg. It's almost the tongue out, then you know it's really lit, don't you, when the tongue's out.
Absolutely. You've seen that barometer before.
Yeah, wow. So this was Loeb coming through for the merge with Timmy. Really, really close between those two. And Solberg in P3 at this point. We're on board with Hanson. Up and over the crest, and Hanson, of course, doing a brilliant job then to get past. Neil Cole, I think, has found Gulan Shisharit out in the snow somewhere.
Gulan, the whole team, everyone looks really pumped that you've made it into the final on your second event. It's snowing, which will suit you as a former free ski world champion.
It's a sign, you know, it's meant to be. Look, it's snowing for the final. I'm in the final. No, I'm super stoked. You know, we have been working like really hard since Barcelona to improve. Walking. I have all my team behind me and behind us and pushing really hard. So now, you know, that's my first final. So the plan is just, you know, send it, enjoy it as much as possible.
I'm being told you've got to go, so good luck.
Yeah. Thank you. Allez, see you.
Look how hard the snow is falling here in Montalegre. That's our commentary position at the far end. You see a few of the spotters waving to the camera. We can barely see the camera, but there is still some mega action to come. Well, the temperature here is dropping so quickly, it's crazy. It's dropping a degree every couple of minutes. Oh, so cold, so much snow, and the poor Super 1600s are lining up. Every time the Super 1600s have come to the line, it's been snow. Well, we won't have bad weather everywhere, I promise you. We've got some brilliant new events coming up in the FIA World Rallycross Championships, as well, of course, as the America's Rallycross Championship joining us later this year. Let's take a look at what you can expect.
2018 promises to be our most exciting season yet. I think the field, in terms of the drivers and the cars, are really competitive. And the big thing are the events that we're going to, Silverstone and our Speed Machine Festival, and that's really exciting. That's a whole different course we're going on in terms of the festival element.
Speed Machine with Silverstone, it's trying to make more like a family weekend with a different type of involvement, from music to food and also the World Championship. You know, that can be an interesting thing, you know.
Well, this year we go to America for the first time, down to Austin, Texas, to the Circuit of the Americas, and that's a first for us. And we've built a rallycross track within the F1 circuit and the MotoGP circuit, and that's going to be really exciting because it's a natural amphitheatre for rallycross.
Yes, I have a history. I was one of the first drivers who was there in the USA, and the audience were really happy to see rallycross cars, and so I think it's a good idea, and they will love it, I'm sure.
I've been there, it was fantastic, you know, a lot of passion, and I think it will be a big success. I look very, very happy and positive for the future.
We're going to help the domestic scene in America with the launch of America's Rallycross, and hopefully we'll see the likes of Scott Speed, Tanner Faust, Ken Block, and some other American drivers come in to compete for the champion of America.
Super 1600 final is on the line, if you can see it. It is snowing very heavily indeed here in Montalegre. I promise it won't snow at Kota later on this season. Well, I've been promised that. I'm not going if it does, if it's going to snow.
Don't promise anything with RX.
On this one, then on the pole, Rokas Bakkerud with Andres Smetana alongside. Row 2, Vaclav Vaverka and Maximilian Eveno. And row 3, Espanis Saxetra and Artis Baumanis, the championship leader, the championship runner-up last year. So Super 1600, Guy Wilkes, you're an expert at these JWRC Pro for a few years with Suzuki, and these guys have got a little bit less weight, a little bit more power, and right now, Rally Sweden conditions. So we're going to get the Super 1600 final underway, and then we'll hear from Guy about just how hard this is going to be for them. So look for anybody getting good traction in these conditions. Massive wheel spin. Baumanis has got away, but Bakkerud's got the best of the start. So Bakkerud versus Smetana down towards turn 1. Bakkerud's going to come out of the snow on your picture. He's on the inside. Look, though, for Baumanis going deep. Oh, Vaverka's gone in 2. 4 have gone into the Joker. Baumanis has come up from P6. He qualified P12. Iveno's in there as well. Baumanis is going to come out of the Joker lap in second of those who have Jokered. And, okay, that's a swap for the lead as well. That's Isak Cetra taking over from Bakkerud in the lead. Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot cleaner in the braking zone. I was expecting a little bit more action, but they got it sorted out very clean. But you can see now from watching four-wheel drive supercars to two-wheel drive. Different attitude, different angle of the car. They'll try and keep it as straight as possible. They won't slide the car into the corner. They'll try and drive, even on the gravel, like it's on tarmac. They want to get the wheels pointing straight and get on the gas as early as they can. They'll be short shifting on the gravel as well, and even potentially a little bit on the tarmac. We can actually hear them bringing them straight out on the tarmac, but definitely on the gravel. They're short shifting to try and keep traction.
Look how close it is here. Baumanis is desperately looking for a way through. We're sorry that you can't see a bit more at home as he managed to get past. I thought he had. God, these guys have got to keep on the clean line as well, so we can see some areas, can't we, where the gravel has been moved back a little way from the edge of the track, and they're going to look how much of the curb they're using too, desperately trying to find some grip. I mean, practically jumping over it.
Yeah, and straight line it as well. They don't want to be taking too much of an angle of the corner, because obviously the more you have to steer, the slower you go, and obviously the more resistance you need to turn that corner. So they're trying to straight line it to get as little angle on the corner.
Isak Setra still leading from Bakkerud. The gap now between them as they come over the start-finish line is just 2.5 seconds. So the chasing pack is closing down on Isak Setra and Bakkerud. I thought Isak Setra was lucky to hold on when he did. And Guy, if they're not careful, for me, their spotters need to be reacting now. If you've lost half a second, go Joker.
Yeah, they need to send them probably this lap unless they pull a lap out the bag. But if you look at the front two, obviously, Isak Setra, he's got obviously Bakkerud all over the back of him here at the moment. The thing is, they're probably holding each other up as well.
Listen to the revs. I mean, you know, just the tiniest bit of throttle and you're picking up a ton of wheel spin. We've got a spec ECU this year, which means we know no one's using traction control, so we can monitor that. This is all about right foot feathering and throttle control.
It is, but it's also about teamwork as well, because she can develop and change the chassis so much with the dampers and the roll bars. The snow is just coming in more and more. This is incredible.
It is actually. The snow is blowing into the commentary box now over the top of the roof. Contact there. Baumanis is it's still in P4, but I think he's, you know, these guys, what's the gap now? So it's only 2.8, 1.1. So yeah, okay, they've got about 1.7 over the guys between P2.
Look at the snow setting.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, but you can see it settling on your screens at home. Everybody here is starting to wish they had a supercar to get home in. We're a fair old way up a mountain. Smetana under pressure still from Baumanis, lap 4 of 6. Listen to the revs. You cannot beat a high rev in Super 1600.
Yeah, you can't. They're great fun. And the thing I was going to say, Baumanis actually lying in 4th here. He's all over the car in front, Smetana, but he has been really lucky this weekend after leading in Barcelona.
Bakkerud goes Joker, excuse me, Guy. Bakkerud goes Joker, and this goes to show you that they should have joked early, because they're going,
Baumanis, this could potentially be for the win. He has come from just qualifying in 12th position. He only just made the semis, had a bit of trouble, and he could win this. He came from the back row in his semi-final, and he almost got put out because there was a big collision with him and the guy who's leading on the Joker.
I think it was massive collision between them. So this is a huge rescue job by the championship leader. Artis Baumanis was runner-up in Super 1600 last year. He's desperate to take the title this year. Isak Setra's going to have to Joker on this lap. Check the gap at the end of this one, and we'll have an idea of whether or not he's going to get it done. So he crosses the line. Behind him, Baumanis is 2.6. He's taken 4/10 off him last time round.
2.6 seconds is not enough. You need 3.5 with a supercar.
Baumanis comes around, having qualified 12th, having scraped it through after a massive collision in the semi-finals. Isak Setra's actually got big speed as he comes around, but it is Baumanis who leads with just half a lap to go in torrential snow here at Montalegre. I can hardly see the other side of the track. You guys can see what these drivers are contending with in two-wheel drive machines. This is absolutely epic stuff from the World Rallycross Championship. There is snow over the gravel traps. Baumanis has 2 corners to go. He rides the curb on the left. He comes into the funnel for the Armco, and that's a hell of a rescue. Qualifies 12th and wins the second round of the Super 1600 Championship. That's 2 from 2 for Baumanis. What a great job by him.
Incredible. That
Fantastic.
What a fight back from only just qualifying to make the semis. He was so close to not making the semis.
Fantastic. Look at the crowd. Well done, Portugal. Hats off, guys. Look at this. They've got that's some of the teams too. Wow. Artis Baumanis from P12 in qualifying, scraped it through to the final, wins the second round from 2 of Super 1600, takes 8 championship points. Isak Setra has to be said, great job to get through to second, and then Andreas Smetana in third. Ivano, Bakkerud and Viverka rounding out the final result. Okay, so we call We call this a beauty shot in the business. Right now, I'd like to call it fog. The snow is settling on the umbrellas. And I have to say, a round of applause to the Portuguese fans who are sticking this out. And I'll tell you why they're sticking it out, because the racing here has been unbelievable all weekend. This venue, every year they do something. They put a new grandstand in. It's full again. Brilliant, brilliant. But this is, it's freezing in the corridor. It's about 6 foot up. I mean, we've got snow blowing in over the top of the roof. There you go. That's the view of the finish line. I might have to come to you outside the window, though I can't see the other side of the track anyway. Super 1600 Championship standing. So that job by artist Baumanis means that he takes his lead up from 6 points to, well, actually, no, the lead's gone down to 5. So that's because, of course, of his bad qualifying. So Bakkerud, who finished 4th in Barcelona, has managed to close the gap because of Baumanis. But still, he holds on to the lead, and that's thanks to a great job through the semi-finals and the finals. It's Jimmy Turpero who is in 3rd. Isak Cetra, Ivana Smetana, Martin and Ligur. So a brilliant race from Super 1600 in some of the trickiest conditions I think we've ever seen for the little pocket rockets. Okay, wow.
Look at that.
Neil Cole is somewhere with Timmy Hansen, which I'm assuming is indoors. We could be wrong, but Neil Cole's out there somewhere on the planet of Hoth.
Timmy, these conditions are unbelievable. It's more like the north of Sweden than Portugal. Are you ready for the final in this snow?
I guess it plays in my favor. We have snow. I've done a lot of practice on snow, but you know, it's so challenging. We started on dry and finished in snow in the semi, so gods aren't making it easy for us. But I was so happy to take the win. I was super careful with the slicks on that track, but now it's a completely new race. Now we have the car set up. At least we have rain tires on, so having to refocus from what we did before and do a bit like we did this morning instead.
Good luck, winter is coming.
Thanks.
Well, there we are. We've had a reference to Star Wars and a reference to Game of Thrones, thanks to the weather inside 2 minutes there. Timmy Hansen saying they've been practicing on snow and ice, but they have, Guy, but that was on studded tyres, you know, for Rallycross and ice during the winter. Timmy was in a buggy, and they're on wets here, but I mean, yeah, Petter's in the car. This is playing into Petter's hands too, isn't it? Because you can't beat this guy when it comes to tricky conditions and chucking it in and seeing where the grip is.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously rallying background, you know, Monte Carlo rally. He's comfortable, he's relaxed.
Maybe he's listening.
Yeah,
perhaps he's got a TV in there.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
But look at
either.
that, you know, it's visibility is actually not quite maybe, well, almost as bad as that picture. It is as bad as that picture, but at the same time, it's only 0.1 degree Celsius. It's only just above freezing.
Well,
so
that's the coldest of the day then, yeah.
Yeah, but the wind is blowing. Now, I don't think it will ice over, but it'll take a little bit longer than that, but this is definitely going to be interesting in 6 laps.
Andreas Bakkerud in the Audi. Can he take a win for his new team on only his 2nd outing for them? He'd absolutely love that, wouldn't he? The snow's coming in sideways. They're sitting in the cars. The other challenge here, Guy, of course, is keeping the drivers dry, and it sounds like a small thing, but it's important because otherwise you get the car steaming up inside.
Oh, it's a massive thing, keeping moisture out of the car, even off your overalls. You know, all you want to do is sit in that car, stay warm yourself, keep your feet warm as well. That's a hard thing to keep warm, because you want so much feel in your feet, because you're going to be balancing the car in these tricky conditions, and the slightest too much input on either brake or throttle, you can either lock the wheels or spin it all up. Look at these guys, mad for it. They were going nuts before when Andreas Bakkerud was on the
I must point out, we've had a highlights reel playing here all weekend where we've seen fans in shorts only. Tops off, in the sun, getting sunburnt. I've been here in shorts and T-shirt. I wish I bought my thermals. To be honest with you, it's looking like I could ski back to the hotel if I bought the skis with me as well, but not right now. Let's get back to it. Timmy Hansen in the car. We're getting some tyre information through. Everybody's on wets. It's a mixture of new and old. Hansen on new, I think Christopherson new, Loeb on new wets. Everybody else on a mixture of used and new. Absolutely coming in sideways. We've got 1 race left to run, and that's why the fans are staying here. 0.1 degrees Celsius. I have to stick that in my stats as a record. I hope it never gets beaten in terms of the temperature at which we are racing. But please stick around. If you're at home, you can see you've got a slightly more comfortable seat than the fans have here. As I say, one more time, hats off to the brilliant Portuguese crowd. Okay, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Round 2 of the 2018 FIA World Rallycross Championship is about to come to a close. in the most challenging conditions I think we have ever run a final in. The last of the cars are pulling up to the grid. Here's your lineup. On the pole, Timmy Hansen for Peugeot Sports. Next to him, Johan Kristoffersson, PSRX Volkswagen, Sweden. Ignore the new and the wet, it's new wets and used wets. Andreas Bakkerud and Sebastian Loeb on row 2. The Audi in the mix, the second of the Peugeots there. And then on row 3, of course, we've got Petter Solberg. This man loves tricky conditions, so both the VWs in, as well as Guerlain Chicherit for the GCK team in the Renault Megane. Chicherit in a position to come around the outside. Solberg is possibly in the hardest grid slot in terms of making himself some space. Hanson knows what's at stake here. Hanson hasn't won since 2016. Kristoffersson on the front row with him has won 8 of the last 10. Who's going to get the job done here in Portugal today? Wipers on, green light, go! Oh, massive wheel spin on row 2. Bakkerud looks like he's gone backwards. Cars go past him. Kristoffersson's got clear whole shot as he passes us. Kristoffersson on the brakes, but who's going around the outside? Hanson's gone deep on the brakes. And into, is it Solberg down around the outside? Solberg and Chicherit around the outside, contact there. And somehow from that lot, it's Hanson who comes out in the lead of the 3 who've gone into the Joker lap, and it's Loeb who leads on the standard lap, and Solberg had gone with Loeb, so it was Kristoffersson in the Joker. Apologies, we just could not see in the snow.
No, but a little bit of contact obviously from Loeb with Solberg in the Joker.
Kristoffersson now past Hanson, so Kristoffersson leads from Hanson. Oh, sorry, so it was, yes, it's okay, carry on.
Yeah, Kristoffersson is in the lead. Obviously then Timmy Hansen followed by Andreas Bakkerud. They all went standard lap. But Sebastian Loeb and Solberg had a little bit of niggle. Nothing too much, just there's so little grip under the cars. A little bit of contact. Solberg got pushed wide and Loeb just snipped up the inside.
Bakkerud deep on the brakes. You can recognise Bakkerud's car from the fact that it's got a blue roof on it. That's the spotters in the spots tower getting covered in snow themselves. So Kristoffersson from Hanson. Kristoffersson is absolutely epic in wet conditions, guy. And for me, he's out front here. He looks to have gapped Hanson a little bit already, but we need to watch that gap back to Loeb, because Loeb, of course, is the first of the 3 drivers who has joked, and it is Sebastian Loeb, in fact, who wins the Monster Energy Supercharge Award as well. That's the fastest reactions at the start, so Loeb getting down to the Joker lap first. Do you think it was a Joker by choice or by tactics? Oh, to the left of spin in front of the commentary position. Somebody's in the wall. It's Hanson. It's Hanson. Hanson's dropped it, and he's dropped down several places. As a result, we saw the car spinning round in the fog that is on your screens. Hanson goes Joker now, and he might as well. So Hanson dips the Peugeot out into the Joker lap. It looks to be relatively unscathed, but anything can happen here. It's not even over. You know, you've just got to keep at it. You don't know what's going to happen in front of you.
Absolutely, it's so tricky. Even if you've got a clear track in front of you for Johan Kristoffersson, he will not be relaxed at all. Look how hard he's fighting and how far the car was off the apex there.
But look at the gap too, and of course now Hanson's dropped it out a second. He's in such a good position. You could consider jokering now to cover off the guys behind.
Loeb is the one that's on the money here. This is going to be really tight. It's Bakkerud that's been dropped out of it. Obviously he's 3.6 behind, hasn't jokered. Loeb has. So let's see where Johan is.
Down at the hairpin, Loeb at the inside of Bakkerud. So Loeb at the inside of Bakkerud. He passes him anyway, so Bakkerud hasn't joked, and he's going to go backwards now. Solberg is hunting Bakkerud down too, so Bakkerud's looking to drop out. And VW, who started this weekend, have been slowly fighting their way back up. And when have we said that in the last the whole of the last season on board with Bakkerud? Handbrake, look at this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how hard it is with these conditions, with the wipers going flat out, obviously, and a bit of mud from the car in front. Difficult conditions. You know, we need to be focusing really on Kristoffersson and Loeb. We need to see when Kristoffersson goes for the Joker.
How tight is that gap? There's Bruno Ferman, the boss of Peugeot Sport. The gap's gone up by a 1/10. Kristoffersson's gapped him by 1/10 on that lap. 4.2, is it enough to be able to hold on? Kristoffersson is gambling on the fact that he thinks he's got the better pace than Loeb. I was going to say the snow's eased off, but I don't think it has, and you can see that. Andreas Bakkerud pops the curb. Solberg's right behind him. Solberg knows he's got him. There's no point trying to pass, is there now? It's one place. Solberg gets a podium if he just holds on.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't need to do anything silly, get tangled up with Andreas Bakkerud, as we've seen cars get tangled up in the semis already.
Tommy Kristoffersson, the world champion's dad. They were very emotional when they won the championship back in Latvia last year. Remember to say, this guy, he's on 10 wins. He's won 8 out of the last 10 events. Could he take number 11 here this weekend? We thought it was Ekstrom who was first to 11 last time
Here
out.
we go.
Until he was disqualified. Kristoffersson, though, now fighting for the win. Watch for Loeb on the inside for Peugeot Total. Loeb's going to try and get on the gas and shut the door, but Kristoffersson's done it. Kristoffersson has taken the lead. He's got half a lap to go. Oh, so slippery, but the world champion with the #1 on his car is absolutely showing his class here. We know he's a weapon in the wet. He's fought back all weekend long. The whole team have. They're going to end up with a double podium here, and it's Kristoffersen, who went up to 10 wins last time. He's won 8 out of the last 10 events, and you can now make that 9 out of the last 11. Johan Kristoffersen takes round 2 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship from Montalegre in Portugal. P2 goes to Sebastian Loeb, and P3 to Petter Solberg.
This weekend will not be forgotten for a long time.
I don't know if you noticed that there were flames above the gantry with the Monster Energy branding. The crowd would be happy that may have raised the temperature ever so slightly. I was gone up to 0.2 of a degree, so
it did its job. Can I have a cuddle now because I'm cold?
Kristoffersen, guy,
unbelievable. So he showed, like you said, exactly right. He showed his class. That was pure class from start to finish.
Brilliant. We saw him wide in that corner. We saw him wide in that corner, but he did such a brilliant job. I mean, #1 on the car, and you know, how does he do it? You know what he said, didn't he? Audi have outsmarted themselves, but brilliant job, and it is Johan Kristoffersen who takes round 2. Sebastian Loeb gets another podium and the Monster Energy Supercharge Award. Then we've got Petter Solberg in P3, Bakkerud P4, Gulan Schiesrit is 5th, and then Timmy Hansen down in 6th after that spin. So, wow, great stuff. Sebastian Loeb, that's actually his 2nd P2 in a row, but for Kristoffersen, that is his 2nd win in a row. He's won both rounds and kneels with his dad, Tommy.
Tommy, we don't see a lot of emotion from you or Johan, but you really, really appreciated that win.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend for us to start with, but we working hard, put everything together. Perfect teamwork from Petter and Johan and from the team, really working hard, and it's so nice to finally deserve to get this win. It's really amazing. So good start of the season.
And yeah, 2 wins out of 2, but the conditions today, nobody expected it to be quite like this.
This is a typical Rally Sweden weather condition. Johan was doing the Rally Sweden this year. Maybe this was because of that he managed today. We never know.
Good point. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rally Sweden experience helping Johan Kristoffersen. I think the guys in the WLC will be scared when he goes back next year. I think he's planning another outing in an R5 by VW, I think. So this was turn 1. I wasn't even sure which of the cars were down there because it was so hard to ID them. And in fact, of course, it was Loeb versus Loeb versus Solberg. Yes, so they'd gone in, and we thought it was I thought it was Hanson and Kristoffersen, I think. But impossible for us to see from the commentary box, Guy. Tell us how challenging this. So that was Timmy's spin.
Yes.
How challenging was this for these guys?
Massively so, you know. Even though it's a wet tyre, it's still like a slick tyre. There's no real give in that tyre, you know.
And the temperature too.
The temperature's too low, really, for that. You know, it's working. Obviously, you can see the guys having to work really hard. But you know, we don't usually get snow on a weekend, and you know, Tommy's obviously tongue-in-cheek joking about the conditions. I think the only similarity between the car and obviously from Rally Sweden to this event was that the windscreen wipers were taking snow off the screen.
Yeah, that's about it, isn't it? That's about it. There's, I think that's Henk the Winter down there on the moped. That's the most dangerous job of the weekend, riding that in the snow. I wouldn't want to be doing that either. That's even harder than Kristoffersen.
5 out of 5 for bravery.
Yeah. Johan Kristoffersen, winner of the first 2 rounds of the World Rallycross Championship. What did he win last year? Well, I've got my stats in front of me. He also won South Africa, because that's actually 3 wins in a row. He had a bit of a bad weekend in Germany. Just before that, of course, he won 5 in a row. Then he only got 2nd in the UK the weekend before that. I mean, this guy has got the #1 on the car, and he is an absolute machine. What a drive. You can see what that means to Kristoffersen, you know, the old arm pump there, but he, you know, that was hard fought all weekend, guy. And I think it's fair to say that they, you know, okay, last year you could have said they were dominant. They had the car. This year, they haven't got that dominance, and this was brilliant driving.
Regardless of the conditions, they had to fight for this win. So on board with Solberg, obviously, off the start. Let's see what happens here. Sebastian will just slide a little bit, a little bit of contact. Yeah, and that just pushed him wide, and Sebastian, let's see, come up the inside here. Sebastian's fighting for his, it's...
But you're just adapting the whole time, aren't you? It's like nudge, handbrake, nudge, throttle. I mean, it's great, isn't it?
You're fighting for space. That's what you're continually doing in a situation like that.
Look at the feet again, Guy. We were talking about this earlier on, so...
hear the engine there hit the limiter and he was in
Yeah, because
fourth.
he had to pull it back straight, didn't he?
Yes, and that's how you pull it back straight. You get on the throttle. That gets you out of situations as well. But you can see here different angles from the car. Sebastian a little bit more sideways going into it. Just creeping away from Petter there. But yeah, look at the big oversteer there, almost fully lock-stopped.
Right, we're going to have a look now at Timmy Hansen off the start. So this is Timmy Hansen's start from the inside of the grid. So you got a bit more wheel spin, I think, there, or possibly bogged. Look, you can see that Kristoffersen shut the door and he knows. So he's early on the brakes and smoothly on the gears. Looking down the left, you can see the people coming around.
Very clean. You know, there was no fighting going in there. He knew he was behind Johan Kristoffersen. He beat him off the start and he showed him full respect.
He doesn't have quite, I mean, you can see there just a little, Kristoffersen's just on it.
Listen how ginger he is on the throttle there. He's not sure of the grip at all, but rightly so, you know. They've not been out in these conditions at all this weekend. That's the first time it's absolutely hammered it down with anything that's put water on the track.
Big handbrake there from Hansen to get it turned in. Oh, these onboards are brilliant, aren't they? I could watch this all day long.
Quite a lot smoother and calmer in the car than Petter, you'll notice.
Exactly. And see, Petter's got that thing, hasn't he? Just send it and see, just chuck it. We're going to see Hansen's crash now. Solberg just chucks it and deals with it. Hansen maybe lost a bit of time by not being so ultra confident on the gas and the brake, but you listen to the smoothness, he's got a beautiful style. Here he goes, so in. Then what does he do? He goes to the flick and just gets away from him. I think, does he tap the barrier on the inside? Yes, glances off the barrier.
Yes.
So he glances off the barrier and he'd be full throttle there. So actually, what would he then? Hard on the brake, guys. Almost lucky not to hit the wall on the. Well, in the dry, you would hit the wall on the far side, but. Well, the crowd are leaving, and I'm not going to lie, fair go. I think I would be too. The snow is settling on the floor. We've got snow settling on the trucks and the vans and the grandstands around us, but that is an absolutely epic weekend of racing here at the top of the mountain in Montalegre. Podium coming up next. So the podium and our photographers await. They're going to be waiting just a short while longer because we are going to get to chat to our winners first of all. Neil is with Johan Kristoffersen.
Johan, your second win of the year out of 2 events, but that looked really tricky.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say I'm pretty full of adrenaline now. It was a very, very tough semi-final and final. Okay, final wasn't that tough, but it was very tricky condition. Semi-final was really carnage in the first corner, and yeah, I managed to come out first. And I got proper heat from behind in T3 on the first lap, so I had a bit of damage on the rear from the exhaust. So a lot of smoke in the car, but it was okay. Car was fast, so yeah. And then finally I had a great launch and just same conditions as 2015. So yeah, it was very good.
But give us a sense of just how slippery it was. That last corner looked particularly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's snowing. It's unbelievable. So yeah, last corner is really slippery. You are like aquaplaning on the surface, just waiting for the car to catch back. So super slippery, but I feel confident in the car. I'm super happy for Petter to be P3.
Well done, mate. And Rally Sweden obviously paid off as practice. Well done.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
So here are the drivers' standings after round 2 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Johan Kristoffersen, Andreas Bakkerud moves up to 2nd, Solberg down to 3rd, Loeb up to 4th, Matthias Ekström down to 5th. But wow, what a weekend. Great performance by Kristoffersen. Sebastian Loeb is now down with Neil Cole in the snow. So we can go and have a word with the Frenchman about how he might compare that to previous grip levels.
Sebastian, you're just joking that you don't have your skis standing next to you. It is like we're at the end of a skiing event, but you managed to slalom your way through.
Yeah, it was a very difficult weekend. The condition was changing all the time, and we had to adapt the driving. Even some snow in the final, so that's something we didn't really expect for Portugal. But it's like that. So we are here in the snow. Again, a podium, 2nd place. So I'm very happy from the weekend. I think I scored some good points. It's okay.
And for you personally, we know that historically you're great on all different surfaces. You've won Rally Sweden, one of the few non-Scandinavians to win Rally Sweden. So this was just a breeze for you. It was easy, the final.
Yeah, but it's a bit different. In Sweden, you have studs like this, and here we have rain tires. So it's a bit different. But I found a good rhythm in the semi and the final, and so happy to be here. Happy to be at the finish line because it was very tricky.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here are the team's championship standings for you. PSRX Volkswagen Sweden on 96, but they are not getting away. EKS Audi Sport in P2 on 80. Team Peugeot Total on 75. I think you can see there that the factory teams are a big threat, but look, the Hyundais are up there. GCK competition with the Renaults, absolutely brilliant. OMSE as well, so it's so close and so exciting. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
Petter, it was quite hard for us to see what was going on, and we were watching the TV pictures. What was it like in the car in that final?
Oh, incredible. You know, I had a pretty okay start, maybe not straight away, and I came quite well. And then I was putting on gears, you know, and then I saw everybody's just breaking up to go into... So it was straight up, oh, okay, I take it then, you know. So I didn't even put in 6th gear, I just hold it because I needed some more engine braking into it. Came into the Joker, that's good, and then Loeb touched me a tiny little bit, not bad. Moved out a little bit, came on the side, it was fair, nice driving for that, and then was just to keep it tidy as possible. I almost had him down there because he came very wide, and I'm very happy. And you won also, you know, he's unbelievable, you know, he's just, wait, oh, he won again. It's almost like that, but fantastic for the team, very happy.
And up until today, 50 events in the World Rallycross Championship, we've never seen conditions like this.
Not me either. This was very spectacular. It must have been fantastic for TV and everything happened. You know, I'm looking forward to look how it looked from outside.
Me too. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, those guys are waiting to watch the podium, so someone should take them the champagne, really, because they deserve it for standing up there waiting to see the podium. And that, of course, is if the champagne isn't frozen, Guy. Do you think it'll spray?
I'd be happy for a coffee.
Yeah, to be honest.
Hand warmers and a coffee. No, what an epic race. And semi-finals, cracking TV. If you tune in for RX the first time you watch that, it's not always like this with this weather, but if you didn't enjoy it, then
it's probably not for you if you didn't do it. I mean, what a start to a championship. I thought Barcelona was epic. I think Portugal's up to, you know, it's going to be a wonderful season. Kristoffersson is rightly over the moon with this win, Guy, and rightly so. I mean,
yeah, it didn't quite go right for them yesterday, and again today, Q3 and Q4 showed that they were edging in the right direction, but the Audis looked the quickest cars, along with probably the Peugeots, you know.
Well, the Peugeots seemed to have it, didn't they, in the dry, and then we got the Audis then today in the slightly damper conditions seemed to have it, and then, you know, we came through Kristoffersson. I wonder if he could have got that done if Audi hadn't messed up turn 1 in the semi-finals, because for me that tactic of possibly trying to block themselves into first and second, let Kristoffersson win that, put him on the front row. Yeah, this whole final was dictated by the fact he had clear track in front of him.
Yeah, he did dictate. He was down the inside, he was on pole position, just drove straight down the wall, turned into the first corner first. Other people had to go to the Joker or follow him, and he just went out hard from the start.
That's the Monster Energy Supercharger Award for Sebastian Loeb. He's just ripping it out of Solberg there. Those two rip it out of each other quite a lot, which is great. Here we go, champagne. Let's see whether or not it is frozen. Of course, alcohol, we all know, freezes at a slightly lower temperature. And there we go, it's not. So these guys are now getting soaked, which means they'll probably be ill in a fortnight's time when we go to Belgium.
I did say I would prefer a coffee, but you never get tired of the taste of champagne on the podium.
No, I'm sure.
I'd much prefer champagne.
Oh, wow, great stuff. Great stuff. Monster Energy girls are up onto the podium for a photo with the winners. This is going to be one of the most unique podium photos I think we've ever seen. You know, we've never had one with snow before, and that's what we're getting today. I love this event. I love this track. I think it's brilliant, Guy. I hope you've enjoyed being back in the commentary box.
Absolutely, and credit to the fans. They really got on board this weekend. Fair play.
Amazing. Amazing. Well done, Johan Kristoffersson. We'll be heading to the press conference with those guys soon. You'll be able to catch that online later and hear some of their thoughts. I think they're about to take a podium selfie of a very, very cold crowd behind them. Monster Energy girls heading in to join them. Well, what a weekend from Montalegre in Portugal. You'll see pretty much every type of weather condition in here. We've seen blue sky and sunshine today. We've seen snow earlier on. I wasn't sure if you guys were going to see it because it seemed to come whenever we weren't on air, whenever the poor old Super 1600s were on the line. But finally, you've seen what the conditions were like. Guy Wilkes, amazing racing. You've been away, obviously, racing for a year, and now you're back in the commentary box. I think it's fair to say this is super close at the front.
It is. It's great to see new manufacturers in Hyundai and obviously GCK come into the championship with new cars as well. It's nice, it's exciting, and obviously they haven't had much testing. We'll give them a bit of time, hopefully by halfway through the championship. I'm saying give them a bit of time. They both made semis, both the teams, so they've done a cracking job, but we need to just appreciate that they haven't had anywhere near as much time as these guys.
Well, let's see what they can do in the coming rounds. Thank you very much, Guy Wilkes, for joining us. He'll be with us several more weekends this year. There you go, look, sunshine and shadows. You wouldn't have believed that earlier on today. We've had some super close merges. This is how committed the top teams are having to be to make sure they can get to the top of the timesheets. We've had teammates beating each other by hundredths of a second this weekend, and then we got onto the semi-final action. The first of the semi-finals was in the dry. There we are, slinging it up over the curbs, dust flying. The second of the semi-finals, well, the weather changed just incredibly. That was Christopherson after Audi, of course, had made that little mistake down the first corner. We thought Solberg was out of this. Baumanis and Ericsson came together, and that opened the door for Solberg to manage to get back through. And this was when the weather changed. It started pouring with rain. Then the snow came. Solberg fought his way up. Hanson went through and took the win to put himself on the front row for the final. The fans could not be dampened in their enthusiasm. The track could. It was so cold and wet and slippery and snowy that we couldn't even see which of the drivers was heading down into turn one and into the choke lap, but we should have known it would be the man with the number one on the car. Christopherson is unstoppable. The world champion has won both of the first two events, but he is having to fight incredibly hard for those top steps on the podium. Join us in just 2 weeks' time when we will be in Belgium for round 3. See you then.